Welcome to Rye House for round 5 of the 2021 Club 100 Sprints Championships. Coming to you courtesy of Alpha Live with commentary support from Double Dash Motorsport Media. My name is Howard Mitchell. Standing in for the usual Andrew Mather today alongside me is Mr. John Ratcliffe. And we are delighted to be bringing you continued coverage of round 5 of the Club 100 Sprints Championship for 2021. We had our lightweights this morning. We didn't have any showers actually. They are still forecast and there's a few more clouds in the air, a bit more threatening for our heavyweights this afternoon. But yeah, we're looking ahead to our heavyweights championship. That's where we're based at Rye House Kart Raceway. I do just want to start with a quick apology. We know we had some problems with the lightweight streaming this morning, so apologies to any of you who were looking to watch that live with us. We have got it all recorded. It will be up on the Alpha Live YouTube channel. I'm sure it will be shared through the various social media streams around the Club 100 community as well. So apologies for that. We are now back up and running. We've got the problem dealt with, unfortunately, a little bit beyond our control, unfortunately, but apologies for that. Let's look ahead, though, to our afternoon's action. Then we're about to get the heavyweights going out for their first heat. Let's take a look at this Rye House Kart Raceway circuit in Hertfordshire. And it's a unique challenge here at Rye House. It's tight and twisty, it's technical, it's about stringing together the corners in a nice, coherent, sweeping motion. We start off with the iconic stadium section. Time to swoop in the car, aiming for that middle apex, and then hitting the second apex. It's dual apex corner, long sweeping right-hander, and then through the elbow, Reg's elbow. So here we are on board with Andrew Ward. We're going to apex in the middle, go a couple of kart widths out, and then come back in for the late apex at the end of the lap and through Reg's elbow, preparing ourselves for the closest thing we have in UK karting to a Monaco hairpin, the heavy braking into the infield hairpin. This is where it can get really tight and a little bit dramatic on starts. Hairpin 2 is a little bit different by the standards of most hairpins. It opens out on exit, so you actually want an early apex and then just open up the steering and open out the throttle, feeding that power in onto the back straight and coming across to driver's right, ready for the pylon and complex Nouvelle section. Got to have your wits about you if you're going side by side with the driver here as a result, because you are going over to the right hand side, and here we can see going over the apex, so you've got a nice straight braking zone, short braking zone, but short sharp stab of the brakes to take you through complex Nouvelle and then into the final part of the lap through the S's, which is really all about setting yourself up for the perfect run through paddock to mean that you carry as much speed as possible onto the next lap, bearing in mind there are track limits being monitored on that last corner. And that takes us across the line for a lap of the 950 metres that make up Rye House Kart Raceway, just on the edge of Hoddesdon in Hertfordshire. A unique challenge within the Club 100 calendar, and that's what our drivers are going to be dealing with this afternoon with the heavyweights. And we were treated to plenty of drama in the lightweights this morning, as I say. Please, if there were parts of that you weren't able to see, then do go back on the Alpha Live YouTube channel. We'll be posting those all up for you later on in the week. Right now, though, we are going to look ahead to heat number 1 of our heavyweights. And bearing in mind, we've got 4 subclasses within our heavyweights. We've got Class 1, the Class 1, Class 2, Class 3 system that we have in the lightweights. We also have the super heavyweights as well. So we'll be covering all of those for you here today. 12 heats, that's 3 rotations of 4, with each driver competing in 1 race out of each rotation, which means that over the course of all 12 heats, every driver competes in 3 races. But basically, if a driver is in heat number 1, then the earliest next heat they could be competing in is heat number 5, because that is part of the second rotation. That'll all start to make sense as we go through it. Random grid positions for the drivers, meaning that they all end up having the same average grid position across their heats. The points from that do count in the championship. There's a maximum of 20 points on offer for a heat win, but also it's about setting the best grid position for yourself in the finals, the trophy finals later on, the C, the B and the A finals, the A final being the big race towards the end. And that's all, as I say, with random grids through the heat, albeit the Class 3, because that is our rookie class, our less experienced drivers, they do have random grids within the back of the grid, so you're never going to see a rookie driver starting on pole, which is appropriate because the Class 3 is all about preparing them, cutting their teeth and getting the experience up. It's a unique setting as well here at Rye House. You're seeing some images right now of Ryassic World. There is really a plane stationed at the edge of the track. You might catch that on the shot as they go through the stadium section. There's all sorts here. If you're looking for a fun day out with the family, definitely check out Rye House group online. Obviously, the Premier Kart circuit, made famous perhaps mostly because of the rise of Lewis Hamilton, but it's got so much history to it, this circuit, and hopefully we're going to be treated to as good a series of races as we had this morning in the lightweights. But I think it's time I should introduce my colleague in comms this afternoon. Good afternoon and hello to Mr. John Radcliffe.
Hello, sir. Thank you for having me again. I had a great morning this morning, watching all of the lightweight races, and the A final was simply fantastic. So as you say, if you guys haven't yet seen that, make sure you do go back and watch that. But I can bet that the heavyweights are going to be just as good this afternoon. So I'm very excited, and I've just brought you a lovely hamburger.
You have brought in some lovely lunch as well, so I'm grateful for that. But yeah, let's have a look then. There's no time for food. Let's look ahead to our first race of the day. Heat number 1, they're just out for practice now, coming right up here on your Alpha live stream of round 5 of Club 100. Let's take you through the grid then for this first race of the day, first heat of the day. Vinod Hirani will take this one from pole with Adam Wright alongside. It's George Boothby and Steve Lindley on row 2. Tom Fuller and Matt Wildman are on row 3. Sean Briley and Wayne Dunham are going to be on row number 4, with Bill Taylor and Richard Lavender rounding out your top 10. Tim Williams and Harry Melvin make up row number 6. Row 7 will be Luke Phillips and David Wilson. Andrew Hicks and Chris Solomon make up row 8. Row 9, and rounding out your 18 karts on the grid for this one will be Daniel Hollinshead and Luke Haynes. That's how they line up then for heat 1 of 12 of round 5 of the 2021 Club 100 Sprint Championship. Currently being led, by the way, let's talk a little bit about championship standings. So currently being led by the defending champion in the form of Joe Holmes, of course. Highly successful driver in Club 100 machinery, surely by this point one of the most successful. He's got multiple heavyweight championships to his name, both in this current format now where we have all heavyweights combined in one championship, but also back when we had the slightly different structure of the Club 100 Sprint Championships. He also won heavyweight back then as well. And under that old format as well, for those who've been following Club 100 for a number of years, you may recall you'd have the lightweights and heavyweights, and they would feed then into the Clubman Championship and then the Elite Championship. He also has 2 Elite Championships to his name as well. So Joe Holmes living up to his extremely high standards of achievement so far, but he's being chased. He's being chased by the likes of Adam Wright, who I think of as Mr. Consistency in this championship. He just always manages to feature at the sharp end of these championships, and he's doing it once again. He's got the one round victory, and he's the only other person other than Joe to have won a round so far. And he did that back at round number 2 at Whilton Mill, which was a streamed round, so maybe there'll be some luck coming his way again today, because we are streaming this one. Amor Burrell-Smith is 3rd in the championship, and then it's Sean Briley in 4th and Matt Wildman rounding out the top 5, and that's currently how they go. But we've had a few, not freak results, I'm not surprised to see them there at all, but a few more disruptors in this one, and I think we've seen in the lightweights. Miguel Hall has had a podium. Chris Dixon has had a podium as well. So there's plenty of them there, and you need to be looking out for the yellow number plates for the Class 1 runners. Class 2, just as they're starting to line out, currently led by Alex Pritchard ahead of Jonathan Elliott and Francesco Volpi. And then Super Heavyweights currently led by Lee Henderson ahead of Richard Newton and Andrew Cherry. It's quite nice and close to the Super Heavies this year. And then it's Max Jameson who leads our Class 3 standings, with Samuel Bensley in second within that class and Martin Robinson in third. So those are some names to be looking out for, but it's nice and close, which is what we love to see. As here, I think we're going to be ready to get underway this time. It is Vinod Hirani, one of your super heavyweights, as denoted by the green number plate as opposed to the blue of classes 2 and 3, and the yellow class 1 number plate of Adam Wright. Eyes on the lights, engine notes rise, and away we go in the hawk-like look of Adam Wright there, looking for when Vinod dropped the throttle to the max, and it served him well because he's been able to retain his second place as they go round turns 1 and 2. Looks to me like a good start for Steve Lindley as well as they head towards hairpin 1. Are they all going to get through nice and cleanly? We saw generally good starts from the lightweights this morning. That looks like everyone slowed each other down a little bit, but I'm happy to say that everyone was facing the correct way at least. Looks like Wayne Dunham may have had a bit of a poor start. Looked like he was hung out to dry just a little bit, as Vinod Hirani has dropped from the lead, because it is Adam Wright opening up with the initial charge here to the front of the field. There he is in the number 3, coming through to finish lap number 1. It is Adam Wright ahead of, well, just about ahead of Steve Lindley, but who's coming under attack now by Sean Briley, who's going to stuff it down the inside of Stadium, and Matt Wildman's going to try and come through as well. Is he able to finish that one off? Yes, I think he is indeed. So it is now Wright ahead of Briley and Wildman. The Class 1 runners quickly making their way to the head of the field then. Should make clear, for those of you who are unfamiliar, these classes all scored together, so every position does count. Everybody's in the same machinery with regards to that, and subject to the same minimum weight, obviously, apart from the super heavyweights. Is that our pole sitter round? Just coming through pylon, there's a penalty given for David Wilson, and I wonder if that'll be for a takeout. Yes, it is. He's taken out Vinod Hirani, I believe, so I'd expect to see, yeah, indeed, Vinod now unfortunately dropping down the order as Sean Briley, again, second lap in a row, makes a move through Stadium and gets the job done on Adam Wright. So Sean Briley to the head of the field here for the number 4 driver. Lovely move, and these are two of the drivers at the very top of the heavyweight championship, and have been for some years now. They've got good experience of these two, but Matt Wildman doing well as well. So everybody in the same machinery and subject to the same weight limits, apart from, of course, the super heavyweights, who run at 95 kilos rather than the 85 of our other heavyweight categories. But they're all in that same machinery, but it's just to do with their experience and former levels of success, just to give everybody something to fight for. And right now, Matt Wildman, I can just see out my window, there he is down the inside into hairpin 1 on Adam Wright, makes the move stick for second place now. So lovely move there, under braking into hairpin 1, which looks like a textbook move, but honestly it's so difficult to do with how strong everybody is on the brakes here at Rye House. If anything, you actually see more moves on corner exit, with drivers hooking up the switchback really nicely, coming out of the corner, just going for that later apex so they carry more speed down the next straight. So that was a very impressive move, made to look easy there by Matt Wildman to get second place. Steve Lindley, still the highest place in Class 2 runners. You just saw him in the back of shot. Here he is, the 47. You just saw him firing through shot, leading ahead of Tom Fuller, leading the battle for fourth. And then Richard Lavender in the 162 has just been taken, has he? Yes, I think he has, because I think that's now Bill Taylor up past the 162, I believe, as they head through there. Steve Lindley and Tom Fuller. Yeah, I think Bill Taylor might have got himself up now. Bill Taylor, one of our super heavyweight drivers, so you see he has the green number plate. Let's just confirm this as they come over the line. Yeah, Bill Taylor did get past Richard Lavender on that lap, as they all go through Stadium again. Head towards the braking to happen, and now here comes the move. Which didn't quite pay off there for Tim Williams, trying to get by on Richard Lavender, and he's got his own problems to worry about now, Tim, because he's got Wayne Dunham in the pale blue suit behind him in that number 66. Harry Melvin as well, not too far behind, looking to capitalise. Here's Lindley though, new fastest lap of the race, immediately beating, in fact, Matt Wildman becomes the first driver of these heavyweights to dip below that 43-second mark. Here is your battle for the lead. Sean Briley, Matt Wildman. And they've just been able to drop Adam Wright ever so slightly on this occasion. As I say, Lindley in 4th, Tom Fuller in 5th, and Bill Taylor, highest place of super heavyweight drivers, in 6th at the moment. We do have our novice class 3 runners as well. Daniel Hollinshead, currently the highest place of those, in 11th place. 2 minutes left on the clock of this first one then. Settled down a little bit has this race for now, being controlled nicely here at the front by Sean Briley. Matt Wildman following along. Will the gloves come off in the dying moments of this race, or will they settle each for a good opening tally of points with no dramas? Through hairpin 2 they go. See what we were talking about from the track guide, with the corner opening up on exit and then having to come across to driver's right so that you can throw it through pylon corner over a somewhat bumpy curb, and then late apex complex Nouvelle so that you can hook it up through the S's and optimise your exit through paddock here. This is where it matters, although the drivers have been warned about track limits as well, so they don't want to push their luck with how far they run off the curve. Another fastest lap of the race from Matt Wildman. Has to be said, he is being helped by Sean Briley, who himself is nearly dipping below that 43-second mark. Nice shot looking up to hairpin 1 there. There's Adam Wright, and then here is the Steve Lindley-led battle, and is Tom Fuller there coming under pressure from Bill Taylor. I'll tell you who is coming under pressure. Tim Williams is going down the inside of Richard Lavender. That is for 7th place. I don't think he was able... Yes, he did make it stick. I can just see out of my window. Heading down the back straight now, that fight is. We're looking at our leaders still. Sean Briley is going to lead round to start the final lap of the race now. But I can tell you that Tim Williams and Wayne Dunham have both got past Richard Lavender on that lap. So plenty of changes within the top 10. Sean Briley is now on the final tour of the circuit for this one. Matt Wildman, is he going to... I think he might play it safer, as the moves within Class 2 are confirmed on your timing tower. Don't forget, you can go to live.alphatiming.co.uk, click on Club 100 and see full live timing. So if you've got a spare screen, a spare device, recommend doing that. There's even a driver tracker as well. live.alphatiming.co.uk, click on Club 100. That is Alpha as in Alpha Tauri, not as in Alfa Romeo. How to remember the spelling. But here we go. Is there any challenge for Matt Wildman? He's going to try and optimise the exit, you know. It might be a bit of a drag for the line, this. Sean Briley's controlled this one brilliantly, and he is just going to position the car there just to deter the move, because Sean Briley will take the first win of the day. Matt Wildman in 2nd, Adam Wright in 3rd. It's going to be Steve Lindley in 4th place, Tom Fuller in 5th, Bill Taylor in 6th. Highest of your super heavies, Tim Williams, Wayne Dunham, Richard Lavender and Harry Melvin round up the top 10. Dan Hollinshead, the highest place of your Class 3 runners. Good first race that. We're going to move straight into heat number 2. Let's take you through the grid then for heat number 2. It's going to be Joe Holmes, reigning champion and current championship leader, who takes this one from pole, with Rory Seven alongside Kevin Coombs and Mikey Nichols on row 2, Dave Pethers and Anthony Ridd on row number 3. And then it's going to be Paul Williams and Jeremy Deeks on row 4, Richard Newton and James Taylor to round out your top 10. Oliver Moss and Jonathan Elliott take it from row 6. Row 7 is going to be Chris Wharton and Leon Duperez, and Carolis Conchicas and Elliot Taylor are on row 8. Row 9 is going to be Lawrence Cheer and Blake Templey. I think, is this an 18 or a 19? I think that might round out your 18 car grid. Yes, indeed it does. That's how they line up for heat number 2 of round 5 of the Club 100 2021 Heavyweight Sprints Championship.
How exciting. Get underway with another heat from today. Apologies you didn't hear my voice throughout that first heat. We just run to get some lunch, and I was chowing down on my burger, so I do believe Howard is about to do the same for this second heat, but it should be a good one. That last heat had some interesting battles, but it was a little bit calmer, I would say, than some of the heats we saw from the lightweights this morning. So maybe from this one, we could see some more interesting, daring moves. As we say, we've got Joe Holmes, the #1 on pole, so he's going to like the look of that starting grid. and he's going to hope that he can, well, hold on to that first position and take maximum points for himself. But yeah, all going very well at Rye House so far today. No huge accidents per se. We've had a few karts getting tangled up, a few spins as well, but nothing too crazy. So it's all been good. The kart's holding up well. Drivers mostly seemingly being happy with the karts. A couple coming in before their races to change over, feeling like it's not at the sort of optimum setting for them. But yeah, there we are. It's been very good. So the drivers now currently, as you look at this beautiful shot of our mate Stegosaurus, they are just currently going around doing some practice laps, getting a little bit of time in their kart to decide whether they do in fact want to change it, or whether they're happy to stick with it. So yeah, just driving around and having a good time. But yeah, as we said, I will just remind you of what the plates look like, because this is one thing for me from moving from BUKC to Club 100 that I'm having to get used to, is the different class systems. In BUKC we only have 2, but in Club 100 for heavyweights and for lightweights we do in fact have 3. Well, for heavyweights we sort of have 4. So we have class 1, and they will be the yellow plates that you'll see on screen. Then any blue plates that you see will either be class 2 or class 3. If you do want to determine who's in what, make sure you visit live.alphatiming.co.uk/Club100, and you can find out whether they're class 2 or class 3. And then any green plates that you see, they are our super heavyweight class. So they, I believe, are a minimum weight of 95 kg at the super heavyweights, which, I mean, to me, isn't really super heavyweight. It's a bit of a dig on us big lads, but there we are. Still loving racing out there. You used to be a super heavyweight, didn't you, Howard?
I did, yes.
Perfect class.
It was good fun class.
Yeah. What do you prefer, being in the super heavyweight or the lighter class? Is there any particular difference, or is it more just the same?
Physics still applies. 10 kilos does make a difference, but
true.
Even so, you do see super heavyweights running very much competitively against a lot of our heavyweight drivers. It doesn't make that much difference. We have a good little community going in the super heavyweights back in it, but I'm going to be very diplomatic and say I'm more of an endurance man anyway. As we are good for the go here.
Underway. Perfect. So number 1 leading from the left-hand side of the grid as you look, and he's got a fantastic start there, leading away, able to take the actual correct line through the first corner and maximise his exit, and he's doing fantastically there, pulling away. Who we got? That is, of course, Joe Holmes in the number 1. We've got someone diving up the inside of the first corner. There is a little bit of a contact. That's 68 bumping the back of 19. That's what can happen as everyone loads up into the hairpins. Hopefully none of that into the next one. Tiny little bit of bumps going on from the number 7, but what can you really do? There you go. You can see a yellow plate versus a green plate. A class 1 versus a super heavyweight. And the super heavyweight, the number 32, that's Richard Newton getting up the inside. A lovely little move from him there. And seeing off the yellow plate man. He was saying, no, mate, that is my corner, as they're going to be about to finish the first lap. We've got a 3-wide situation coming down the straight. Lots of bump drafting going on. I believe that was number 7 looking up the inside. It is indeed number 7, of course, of Oliver Moss taking up the inside. He's going to take 1 or 2 positions there. Lovely from him, moving up the field with his only other Class 1 compatriot, obviously, in the first place, being Joe Holmes. More fighting going on down into the hairpins. A lot of bumping and barging, as we said earlier. If you run out onto those curbs on the outside, it can get very bumpy, and you can lose a little bit of time, as Jeremy Deeks has had a bit of a mare there. He's got a penalty. He's down in 8th currently, but he's going to be dropping a couple of positions. It was an ABC bump and pass, so he will indeed be dropping 4, and that's huge for grids of this size, of course. So we've got 3 wide coming through the last corner there. How's that going to work out? They've managed to go into single file for the right-hander. Otherwise, that could have been an interesting fire into the tyre wall there, but they're just about doing okay as we see 79 slipping up the inside of 112. We're going to look back nearer the front of the pack. Joe Holmes is already getting a comfortable lead there, 1.2 seconds up the road from Kevin Coombs in 2nd position. As we have a little battle here. Who is this between? We've got the number 19 and number 32 getting sent out wide. That allows Oliver Moss to take advantage, move up another position. He's going to look up the inside of the next place man as well. 2 by 2 by 2 going into this right-hander. And it has been a bit argy-bargy. Oliver seems to have lost out a little bit. Beans back into 3rd position out of this group, but that is overall. We'll see when they come across the line now where Oliver has managed to place after that battle. He stayed in 8th, so we've got 6th, 7th and 8th here, looking down actually to 9th, and then 10th and 11th are just hanging in behind as well, so it could produce an interesting battle. A lot of karts getting involved here. as we look back to the leader, number 1. Holmes continuing to put in some fantastic pace here, up to about 1.6 seconds in the lead, but don't count out Coombs. He's got a little bit of a gap back down to Nichols and Ridd himself, as there we go, a great move up the inside. That is, of course, Moss, making his way through the pack again, picking out his moves perfectly, weighting that one nicely and moving ahead of that pack of about 6 karts that is now. Very, very interesting, as he does deploy the human DRS down the straight. Makes all the difference, that every couple of tenths that's necessary, and Oliver moves up into 7th position, dropping Rory 7 down to 8th. Rory 7 in 8th. Nice. But yeah, proving a good... Oh, bit of hand gesticulation there from number 65. Was that 65? It was indeed Paul Williams, of course. I was thinking that there was not a 65 in this race, but there is. We're all good. You can see Oliver there has made the move and has already stretched out a few tenths on the number 19 of Richard 7. Sorry, Rory 7, my apologies. It's Richard Newton just behind him, and they're having a very nice battle too, coming around this final section of the track, and they're going to go onto the straight, and they are going to be side by side as they come across the line. See if we can follow their little battle into the first corner. As number 32 dives it up the inside, bit of argy-bargy, side pod to side pod contact, that's okay. He makes the move stick, so that's Richard Newton up past Rory 7. Rory 7 now down to 9th position, and I believe that that is our highest placed super heavyweight. Don't count me on that, but I think that he might just be. Very good performance from him. And Oliver, we can see there with the yellow paint as well, really stands out and is clearly got the pace moving up through the field. So in 7th position, but the field has become a little bit more spread out, similarly to how we saw in the first place. Ooh, little bit of lost time there, and allow for someone to just jump up a place there. It's so easy for these karts to get entangled with each other. The front bumper and the rear bumper just seem to be magnetically attracted to each other sometimes. We saw in this morning a couple of incidents happen where they got tangled up, people got sent onto the grass and things like that. You don't want to do that, so the driver made a good decision in backing out of that one, ended up losing a position, but at least he's able to keep in the race and then have another go at him, as we see 63 and 64 having a decent battle. This is the 2nd place battle. The 68, Mr. Ridd, is joining them as well. So this could prove very interesting. Only 2 minutes left of this race. We're going to have maybe 3 or 4 laps to go. We'll see how this all works out. All these 3 boys are Class 2. So this is fighting for the class win between Kevin Coombs. They've just crossed the line now. We've got Kevin Coombs, as there we are, number 68. That's Anthony Ridd up the inside of Mikey Nichols. A great little move up into 3rd position on track, but 2nd position in their class. All the points matter, and he knows that. He's made the move stick. Job done. Now he's going to look forward to Kevin, who's still holding out that 2nd position. All on quite similar pace here, and that has actually allowed, these guys fighting, has allowed the 92 of Dave Peathers to just about be getting involved with this battle as well. So not long left to go now, and almost 4 karts involved in this battle for 2nd place. It's all hotting up here. Don't turn off now, everyone. Don't turn off now. Only about a minute left of this race at the beautiful Rye House circuit as they dive into the first corner at Stadium. A fast right-hander into a heavy braking section, through that right-hander into the left, and we move down into the hairpins, following line astern. Do these Class 2 drivers all putting in a very solid performance, showing their pace in their first race of today. If you didn't hear earlier, each driver will get 3 races. There's 4 races where they're all mixed up, then another 4, and then a 3rd group of 4 races before we move on to the finals a little bit later. But can any of these guys make a little cheeky move as we move to near the end of the race? I believe it is going to be the last lap. It is indeed. As Holmes move on to the final lap, he's got 3.7, now 4 seconds in the lead. I think he's got this relatively sorted, not to commentators curse him. Hopefully he can hold it together through this last lap, and he should keep this okay. But we're looking back here at Coombs, Ridd, Nichols and Peathers. What can they do? All 4 racing line astern, and 31 Elliott, with these guys following, has allowed him to catch up, but I'm not sure, with only half a lap to go, whether he's going to have quite enough time. As we see Coombs not with the best exit there, but Ridd not able to take advantage of it here. They're going to flow into Pylon, into the other one that's not called Pylon. Then flowing in to the final corner, as there we see Holmes is going to go past, and what a decisive win from him. Fantastic, takes the win, and the rest of the boys are going to come across the line. Look at that lock on. That was very cheeky. They're almost going side by side across the line there. Super close, only about a second separated, well less than that, only about 6 or 7 tenths between the 2nd to 5th position. But very good, very well done to Holmes there, winning the race with Coombs in second, Ridd in third, Nichols in fourth, Peathers in fifth, Elliott in sixth, Moss in seventh. Then we have Newton in eighth, Deeks in ninth, and seven in 10th. And we're going to now get involved with the next heat. They're coming thick and fast, so don't go anywhere.
Let's have a look at your grid for heavyweight and super heavyweight. Heat number 3 for round 5. Then Vijay Patel will take this one from pole. Jason Bear alongside. Lee Whitney and Richard Allen make up row number 2. Jordan Salter and Bradley Parrott make up row 3. Row 4 is going to be Chris Alcock and Barry Letchford. Chris Dixon and Lewis Ridd round out your top 10. And then it's Anwar Brule-Smith and Tim Hill. A lot of experience starting on that 6th row of the grid. Zach Booth and Sam Bensley make up row 7. It's Lucas Ticini and Zanello and Marcus Naris on row 8. Row 9 of this 18 kart grid, so rounding them out, is going to be Jaden Cadigan and Matthew Batter. That's how they line up then for heat number 3 out of 12 for round 5 of the Club 100 Heavyweight Sprint Championship for 2021. Coverage coming to you courtesy of Alpha Live, with commentary support from Double Dash Motorsport Media in the form of myself, Howard Mitchell, and Mr. Moto Meerkat himself, Mr. John Radcliffe. Do hope you're enjoying the coverage. Do keep your comments coming in as well. Plenty of people coming in. A few people asking about the lightweights. Yes, we've already done the lightweights. They happened this morning. We'll be posting the videos on the Alpha Live channel over the course of the next week. But yeah, we had some brilliant races in that. We did have some technical problems. Once again, apologies for that on the streaming side. But they were all captured and they will all go up later on this week. And don't forget as well that you can go to results.alphatiming.co.uk and click on Club 100, and there you can see all of the confirmed results, and indeed as they come in now. So if you're coming in and you support a particular driver, you support a driver who's already done one of their heats, and you're like, wow, where did they finish in the first one? I want to be up to speed. You can head over to results.alphatiming.co.uk, click on Club 100, and get all of the confirmed results right there. And don't forget as well, take that results off the front of that URL, put live instead, and you will get your live timing. You'll be able to see in greater detail than you get on the timing tower on the Alpha stream, as useful as that is for reference. But you'll also get a driver tracker as well. You can even select particular drivers. If you're supporting a particular driver, select them, and their little dot on the tracker will light up, and you'll be able to track them. You can even do different colours. If you keep clicking through, you'll get different colours. So highlight the driver you're supporting and highlight the driver they're chasing, and you can watch the dots getting closer or further apart. It all helps to enhance the experience. And the least important thing, because they definitely don't happen, is you can also see penalties there. But we never see any penalties, right? Because everyone's very well behaved, I'm sure. So plenty of ways that you can interact with us here and follow all of the action. Also bear in mind, obviously we put a lot of focus on these streamed rounds because we absolutely love being able to bring this coverage to you, but the live timing is always there. So if there's a particular round happening and there isn't Alpha Live streamed coverage of it, get onto live.alpha timing and you can at least be a part of the action that way. That's also true if you come and watch one of the rounds. Obviously there's been certain restrictions around spectators over the course of the last 18 months, but I'm really happy to see that we are beginning to be able to welcome back more spectators. It's brilliant to see. So as more of you are returning to the track, don't forget that you can go to live.alphatiming.co.uk and follow all of that there as you are trackside to enhance your experience whilst you're there. So yeah, that's definitely one of the ways, several ways in fact, just there, of how you can get involved. Club 100 as well, active community on Facebook, active esports community as well. Don't forget that, you may not be aware, but you can now be, that the iRacing Championship has another round this Wednesday. Head over to the Double Dash Motorsport Media YouTube channel for that, where we'll have full coverage of that Legends of Club 100 and BUKC iRacing Championship. Here though, at Rye House, I think we're finally going to be underway with this one. It's the 126 of Vijay Patel on pole position. Alongside is the 25 of Jason Bear. Eyes on the lights, engine notes rise, and away we go then for heat number 3 into Stadium. They shall fly now. Can they all keep clean? There's quite a pack of Class 1 runners starting in the centre of this one, so going to be interested to see how they can make hay early on here as they all work their way through the elbow, and there's drivers on the grass there in the background. Chris Dixon, I think, a little bit, and maybe Lewis Ridd as well, potentially. They've all managed to keep it going, though, but that was the first time we've seen someone dip their tyres onto the grass there. I actually think it might have been Chris Alcock, actually, who was getting his wheels on the grass as well, as he's fighting with Anwar Brule-Smith down the back straight, heading towards Pylon and Complex Nivelle. Out of that they go through the S's and feed their way through, but it is still our pole sitter, Vijay Patel, who leads this one at the end of lap 1 with Lee Whitney, it is, who's got up toward, into second place, Jordan Salter in third, and Bradley Parrott, one of our super heavyweight drivers, in fourth place, as denoted by the green number plate. There's a big bump there, though, it looked to me. In the background, we've got a spinner there. It all got a bit aggressive in Stadium. We just saw it in the back of the shot. Is that Anwar Brule-Smith who's gone round?
I believe it is Barry
Letchford. Yeah, okay. I think I saw a different driver as well. I thought I saw another driver spinning as well, but fair enough. So we'll keep an eye peeled on the penalty screen there as they all work their way through the latter part of this lap. Everyone is still, no one's massively far off the back of the pack there. I think the spinner, I think Letchford just went towards the back. Let's call them as they come through this time. Chris Dixon there following Richard Allen through Stadium, trying to make moves up through the field. And yeah, it is Barry Letchford who's gone to the back, as did Jason Bear. So he was involved in that as well. Very unusual place to see it all check up, to be honest, because it's quite a flow through that. Richard Allen not too happy about some contact there from Bradley Parrott. Clearly there's a few people, I think, frustrated with the nature of how this one's got underway, seeing just a little bit of red here in amongst the field. As Vijay Patel continues to lead this one. It's now Jordan Salter past Lee Whitney, though, up into second place. We're looking here at the 163 of Whitney leading that battle, and that battle for third with Richard Allen chasing. Down into hairpin 1 they go. Chris Dixon looking on the attack here on Bradley Parrott.
Still got a little pack of 4 Class 1s, haven't we? 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th. And all sticking together. I was going to say, you would hope that, well, as I was about to say, you would hope they'd all work together. No, they're going to all pass each other. So you have another spinner down at hairpin 1. We'll find out who that is for you. As there's another move, number 2.
Anwar.
That is Anwar, sitting on the inside and giving the universe signal of let's work together. Just as I was saying, they should definitely do that. As, I don't want to call anything maybe, it looked like there might have been rain on that previous camera. I'm not sure. We'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, I was going to say, they should really be working together to move up. As that was an aggressive move. Number 26, up the inside. That is
Richard Allen.
Richard Allen. An interesting move, but I mean, it has certainly worked, and he's up another position. And hopefully these guys can press on to the front of the field as they are doing.
Your spinner last lap was Marcus Naris, I'm afraid to report, so he's dropped to the back of the field as we're watching here. Bradley Parrott battling away with Lee Whitney and Anwar Brule-Smith trying to take the advantage on the outside as Lewis Ridd tried to take the advantage on the inside of the back straight there. So plenty of really frenetic race, it feels to me, here as these Class 1s try and find a way through. It's now Lewis Ridd at the head of the field, but to be perfectly honest with you, they're not really. I mean, they've got past Parrott now, but this pack of Class 1 are kind of all fighting in amongst themselves, if anything, and not really moving up the field.
No, they're not really doing what they need to do, are they? They need to work together, like Anwar was trying to tell the rest of them, but not quite happening. There's another battle going on. He puts his hand up in dismay. That's the 108, is it? The 163 of Mr. Whitney, getting very frustrated, but he's back ahead of the pack, being followed by Ridd and then Brule-Smith just behind. All 6, looks like 6, 7 now in this little pack going in, and as you say, they're just kind of fighting amongst each other. They're losing so much time to the leaders, given they are only about 2.5 seconds off, but with 3 minutes to go, that's a decent chunk of time to make up.
Absolutely. Jordan Salter then leading at the moment. I'm not sure if we covered him getting past Patel for the lead, if I'm perfectly open and honest, but he has done so, as this is Whitney now getting the Class 1 runners. Yeah, he's not too happy there with the conduct of these Class 1 runners. It's all getting a little bit leery here. Lewis Ridd has got through. Anwar Brule-Smith has to go off in avoidance I'm not sure this is going to be to the liking of race control. Now Bradley Parrott goes down the inside of Lee Whitney. Chris Dixon in the 90 is behind, and Chris Alcock in the 160 trying to navigate his way through. It's all going to get a bit tight between Alcock and Dixon. It goes the way of Dixon coming out of Complex Nouvelle. Tim Hill, very experienced driver with the chrome silver medieval knight-like helmet there as well in the 12, looking to make hay on the back of this fight. Here's Bradley Parrott again going down the inside of Lee Whitney, which does go his way. But yeah, I think Whitney's going to be feeling a bit punch-drunk here. It's not been the clean. That's a late move to defend as well. Alcock reads it well, though. He's going to try and get the switch back. Is Dixon going to be able to stay within the tyres? Yes, he is, but Tim Hill is going to go on the outside now. Noah's Ark, Stiley onto the back straight, and yeah, they're just misjudging a few braking points here. There was contact from Hill there on the back of Alcock. They are all, you know, they're keeping it pointing in the same direction, but I think this needs to clean up just a little bit, as now Tim Hill gets taken by Sam Bensley coming out of the Complex Nouvelle through the S's. So a lot of action here. Anwar Brule-Smith with the fastest lap of the race, then a 43 dead. Here he is in the pursuit of Lewis Ridd, but they're largely working together here, I think, to try and get onto terms with Richard Allen ahead of them in the 26. In fact, here they aren't working together. Here's Anwar Brule-Smith going down the inside of Lewis Ridd. Two experienced drivers here. Anwar, particularly experienced and very successful, former champion within Club 100, leading them on to the back straight now, but that might be as good as it gets now for these two. I don't think they've got enough time to catch back up. Lee Whitney still doing a heavy defensive job there, and then further back here is Jaden Cadigan in the 45, defending against several. There's a move from Barry Letchford on the recovery. Good recovery, actually, to be fair. If that's him just getting past, I think that's him going by Anzanello into Complex Nouvelle. Here is Jordan Salter, though. Your race leader took the lead about midway through and has just controlled the pace since then. It's going to be a Class 2 win, pending any disasters in the remainder of this lap. So driven really well here has Jordan Salter. Very impressed with this drive. It's going to be a good result as well for Vijay Patel. And then I think Richard Allen is just going to be able to hold off Anwar. Here is a battle on the last lap, though. That was Chris Dixon, Chris Alcock, and Lee Whitney almost going 3 wide on the back straight. We've got to keep an eye, though, here on Jordan Salter, who's going to come through to take a well-deserved win in the heats. Crosses the line in first. Vijay Patel in second, sets a personal best on the last lap. Richard Allen in third. Anwar Brule-Smith and Lewis Ridd, your highest placed Class 1 runners in fourth and fifth in that one. Bradley Parrott, your highest placed super heavyweight. Chris Dixon in seventh, and Chris Alcock. Lee Whitney was taken by them both on that last lap. Tim Hill rounds out your top 10. Bit of a leery one, if we're being frank and honest about that one, but some good points on the board there for some of our drivers in their first race. Let's look ahead to the final race of this rotation in heat number 4.
And here we are with another heat. Heat number 4 for the heavyweights this afternoon. We've got Alex Pritchard on pole with Lenny Wood alongside, followed by Mike Bodner and Miguel Hall, and then Matthew Hale and Steve Bosley on row 3. Then we got Kieran Chigsey with George Hatto alongside, then Simon Kavanagh and Richard Masterson, followed by Lee Henderson and Alex Lamin. Then Joel Arguls with Jack Bebbington alongside, then Matt Griffiths in 15th with Adam Highland in 16th, followed by Martin Robinson in 17th to round out the grid. Hopefully should be another interesting heat, maybe a little bit less argy-bargy than the last one we saw out, but surprisingly in that one, I don't think there were any penalties actually, Howard.
In that last race?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
Let's have a look.
I'll believe it. I'm just surprised. Anyway, Mark Salter on YouTube saying go Jordan, and well he might. That was a really good drive from Jordan to take the win there. Getting some good points on the board. 20 championship points on the board for himself there. So yeah, good to see that result from there.
I'm afraid I lied, Howard. There was one penalty for knocking over a cone for Bradley Parrott.
Okay.
But surprisingly, no ABCs at all.
Oh, well,
So,
I mean, there were plenty of warnings.
Yeah, there were quite a few.
Yeah. Also, hello to Joe Craddock, saying he's got Young Drivers Championship next weekend. Yes, I imagine you, you're looking forward to that one. It's going to be, I'm just trying to remind myself as to the calendar. That's going to be Whilton Mill, isn't it? Yeah, we're into heading towards round 3 of the Young Drivers' Championship. So good luck to you in that next weekend, Joe. Glad to know that you're looking forward to it, and glad to know that you're enjoying the coverage, including big plastic dinosaurs. This is not the hardest round of the identify the Club 100 track from the circuit furniture. This is the easiest one. Let's not lie.
Why don't they have a big plastic Lewis Hamilton somewhere? That would be perfect.
Well, if I'm being blunt, because Lewis Hamilton isn't a dinosaur.
Well,
I mean,
he's getting on a bit, but yeah, to be fair, not a
I think that's
dinosaur.
a bit. I think he's just signed a new contract. Anyway,
Very true. Very true. Let's not get into this argument.
So, yeah, no, good luck, Joe, in the Young Drivers' Championship. And if you are watching this, and you're a driver aged between 14 and 18 years of age, Club 100 does allow drivers in from the age of 16. There has been dispensation given in the past as well, I know, for drivers as young as 14 to drive in these championships. But there is now a championship for young drivers coming into this. We'll have a little piece on that probably later on in the broadcast between the heats and the finals, which will give you more details about that. But failing all else, head over to club100.co.uk. Check out all of the championships that are there. Not even if you're a young driver, if you're just a driver of pretty much any age from 14 upwards, and you're interested in doing this form of karting, this looks like good fun to you, head over to club100.co.uk and check it out. Get the information there. Give JV and Penny a call in the office. They will be more than happy to help. And yeah, I practice what I preach as well, folks. I've been racing these karts for the best part of a decade now, and a massive proponent of them. Great fun to be had in these Club 100 karts. We are ready for a race start, though, in heat number 4. It's Alex Pritchard in the 77 on your left, driver's right. The number 11 of Lenny Wood alongside experienced driver there. Eyes on the lights, engine no riser. Away we go. Great start from the pole side of the grid. Mike Bodner there, straight up into second place. That was not the best start from Lenny Wood from the anti-pole side of the grid, but he has been able to retain third place as they head towards hairpin 1. You can see there the number 8 of Miguel Hall making early progress. Are they all clean through hairpin 1? They are. In fact, none of them feel the need to go the other side of the tyres in avoidance of an incident even. So that was better than the last race. They're going 5 wide, 6 wide though, and there's a little bit of a heart-in-the-mouth moment there for, I believe that was Jack Bebbington in the 164, who just got sandwiched between the two karts, and the front of his kart started to ride up, the most concerning aspect of which tends to be that you immediately lose your steering, John.
Yeah, I've had that happen a couple of times in BUKC, and it's not enjoyable, especially at the start when you've got about 5 karts around you. As we see a beautiful move. Who is that going on the
it's
inside?
Miguel Hall doing what Miguel Hall does well and muscling his way through. I'm sure Lenny will feel that was a little bit robust, but that is what we come to. And Matt Hale, that's Matt Hale making contact with Lenny Wood, and it's caused a concertina of people spinning into an incident there. That was not, speaking to Matt Hale earlier, and know him well through all of his efforts with the G3 Pro stuff, that one wasn't going to make the highlights reel, unfortunately, for that one.
It's a definite takeout for me, but we'll see what
race control says on that one. I'd have to watch it back if it was. I wasn't focusing fully on it. Here is Miguel Hall, though, going for the lead, clearly perhaps a little bit unhappy with Mike Bodner's conduct in some way. Maybe defending quite robustly there, but here's Miguel Hall up into second. Look at the gap that Alex Pritchard has pulled out here. 2.3 seconds to the good, as Miguel Hall starts to stretch his legs ahead of Mike Bodner. There is Matt Hale in the 155. Not seen anything handed down from race control yet for that incident at the hairpin. Who spun in all of that? Well, going down on that lap, Lenny Wood, of course, was the first in those, but I think also the spinners may have been Richard Masterson. And
there you go, he does have a penalty.
Oh, okay, yeah. Penalty
for
Matt Hale, ABC takeout. Yeah, that one was a little bit of a, I imagine that was, broadly speaking, an open and shut case, but yeah, here's Matt Hale. Here he is demonstrating he can do it cleanly. You know, he's an accomplished driver, is Matt, and got some good experience. But yeah, past Mike Bodner now, up into third. But obviously, then something else has happened to Lenny Wood. Oh, this is a disaster for him and from the reaction we saw as we cut to him there, I imagine that he feels that that was not of his own making, that scenario. I'm going to focus a little bit, though, on a good race happening at the moment between two of our super heavyweight drivers. Oh, no, hang on. Simon Kavanagh there trying to tuck under Mike Bodner, and side by side with him on this straight here. Kavanagh's going to surely swoop down the inside, and there he is up into 4th place. A nice move there, and it is immediately behind these two that you have the two green number-plated super heavyweights of Kieran Chigzy and Lee Henderson. Lee Henderson with that new lid for this weekend, the blue and the yellow. Quite a fan of that. That's nice there, nice and distinctive as well. Nice and simple but distinctive. I'm liking that. So current super heavyweight points leader in the championship standings with a nice new lid design there. He's just ahead of George Hatto as well in the 28, who's the last kart at the back of that pack with the black suit with orange details. And then there is the 72 of Steve Bosley trying to get onto the back of them should they begin to fight.
And slightly further down from that in 10th, we have Matt Griffiths, who's just got a penalty as well. Another ABC takeout, so that's going to be 4 positions for him. Going to be very frustrating. As you look at this battle, we've got number 44, very fitting for the location, Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, he's doing very well. That is Bodner leading this small pack, about 4 cars. Yeah, I do have to agree with you on that helmet. It's a very cheeky design. I do very much like that one. The two super heavyweights being sandwiched by 2 of our blue plate karts. They are both in Class 2. This has proven out to be a cheeky little battle.
Yeah, Matt Griffiths is your highest place of the Class 3 runners. I think we've said this already, but Class 2 and Class 3 both running blue plates. So we'll try and keep you updated as to where Class 3 runners are, as Chigzy is trying to find an opportunity through past Mike Bodner up into 5th place. Can't get it done under the braking into hairpin 1 as they all stream out of it. This straight, I don't think I've said this since we started the heavyweight, the straight between hairpin 1 and 2 isn't perfectly straight. There's a kink to the right in it, and what it means is when drivers are going side by side, they have to give each other respective racing room, or perhaps more accordingly, the driver on the driver's left has to be savvy to the fact that they may be about to be run out of runway. And it's kind of a case-by-case basis. If you're far enough alongside, you can probably muscle your way through. If you're not, you have to perhaps have discretion, the better part of valor, and live to fight another corner, as it were, with that one. Here we go, there's still the super heavyweight battle going on, and Chigzy is clearly aware of the pressure from behind, taking the sort of mid-track line almost into hairpin 1 just to deter any opportunities. It is a track where you can defend really nicely, this one, John, as was demonstrated a plenty in lightweights this morning, but that is Hatto having been able to tuck under here, and Steve Bosley is right behind them, ready to take any opportunity. But the door is shut by Lee Henderson, firmly but fairly, I think, there into Complex Nouvelle, and George Hatto will have to wait for another opportunity as Miguel Hall sets the new fastest lap of the race to take the lead gap down to 1.1 seconds.
Yeah, Chigzy was defending pretty hard on that lap, and that caused that almost move from Henderson up the inside. He looked for it, but didn't quite happen. Sorry, I mean Hatto on Henderson, my apologies. But Henderson is now looking again to attack on Chigzy. Chigzy again going a little bit defensive through there, not quite able to apply enough pressure is Hatto, and he's going to have number 28 looking to try the same move that he did last lap. Again, not quite going to work out, but this is allowed for Bodner to just pull away from this pack. He got to the front of it. These guys are now fighting, and he's off. But I believe we should come on to the final lap now. We do indeed.
Last lap board is out, so it's been shown to Alex Pritchard, who we haven't seen much in this race. We do need to pay some attention, though, because Miguel Hall has brought the gap down by another 0.4 of a second onto this lap. I don't think he's going to have enough opportunities. Side by side go our super heavyweights in the stadium, and that is Lee Henderson through. But Chigzy, I can see out the window, has been able to hold off George Hatto and Steve Bosley. Here is your race leader, though. Alex Pritchard does have a quick look over the shoulder. Miguel, given a few more laps, might have had one hand on this race win at least. But as it's going to remain, I think it's going to be Alex Pritchard as this battle over 6th place works its way through Complex Nouvelle. We look towards the start-finish line, though, because Alex Pritchard is going to take the win, and well, he might celebrate. That was a very well-controlled race to win heat number 4. Miguel Hall and Matt Hale in 2nd and 3rd, though Matt Hale does have the penalty to be applied for that incident with Lenny Wood at the hairpin. Simon Kavanagh in 4th, Mike Bodner, Lee Henderson, Kieran Chigzy, George Hatto, Steve Bosley and Alexander Lammin round out your top 10. Your highest placed Class 3 driver was Matt Griffiths in 12th place. And that brings an end to our first rotation of heats. All drivers in our heavyweights have now competed in at least, well, in exactly one race. It's time to move straight into the second rotation with heat number 5. Let's have a look at your grid then for heavyweight sprint heat 5. Jonathan Elliott and Chris Dixon will make up the first row in this one, with Tim Williams and James Taylor on row 2. Richard Allen and George Boothby are on row 3. It'll be Joe Holmes and Jason Bear on 4, with Wayne Dunham and Dave Pethers rounding out the top 10 for the grid. Row 6 will be Bradley Parrott and Sean Briley. Blake Templey and Jaden Cadigan will be on row 7. Row 8 is Leon Dupreez and Luke Phillips, and then it's Karolis Konchikas to round out the smallest grid of the day, actually. It was 17 karts. Just by one kart they managed to hit that smallest record, and we're ready to go here. Jonathan Elliott then leads them away in the 31, heading towards Stadium Corner. Will Tim Williams be able to dive down the inside? Yes, he will. And actually, look at Joe Holmes. How did he manage to navigate that to second? That was ridiculous. From 7th on the grid. That's a very impressive start there from Joe Holmes. Just judged it perfectly. I'm not sure, actually. Oh, and look at this. It's scruffy at the hairpin. Very scruffy there. Tim Williams is involved. And I think Wayne Dunham as well will look to confirm on timing who's come a cropper in that one. They are all still running. They've just spread out quite a bit as a result of that, as Sean Briley tries to find his slot in the queue of karts. But yeah, I think potentially George Boothby isn't here today, from what I understand. So that maybe was one less kart for Joe Holmes to navigate, spinning there spectacularly for our cameras in the final corner there. Apologies to not draw attention to his finest moment is Blake Templey, as Joe Holmes is having a look at the lead here on Jonathan Elliott. Hounds Richard Allen for 3rd behind. It's all go here. Spinners on the first lap were Tim Williams, Wayne Dunham, well, not spinners, sorry, but people involved in an incident. Tim Williams, Wayne Dunham, Luke Phillips, Leon Dupreez, and yeah, it was Blake Templey who had that spin in the final corner, which looked unforced for where we picked it up at least. But benefit of the doubt, we'll see what he can do now from towards the back, as it is still Jonathan Elliott at the head of the field with Joe Holmes in his slipstream. Is Joe going to find a way through at Stadium? No, not yet. And that might give Richard Allen the opportunity to hang it around the outside, or at least get the switch back out of Stadium through Reggie's elbow and give himself an opportunity. But Joe Holmes is wise to it and moves to defend there, and you can see the little flick from the rear as he pushes the braking capabilities of his Club 100 kart to the absolute limit. But that little exchange has given just a bit of breathing space to Jonathan Elliott this lap. And Joe Holmes, I think, is there's a little bit of concession there between them. Like, come on, let's not lose the leader here, and let's not give Chris Dixon an early Christmas present either, as they work their way through the final part of lap number 3.
Yeah, Sean Briley was not happy with the start. I saw him coming across the start-finish line for the start with his hands up in the air, was not happy with it, and then also got caught up in an incident at the first corner, so it didn't go quite well for him as we continue to watch this battle for at the front. But I do have to say, Dave Pethers, who is in 6th currently, has got an ABC takeout penalty. Might have been the cause of the first lap incident, so he's going to drop 4 places at the end.
I agree, except for the fact that I think he's now in 5th, because I think that's the 92 ahead of Bradley Parrott now, and I think he got that done through Stadium. So he's negated part of that penalty as Joe Holmes and Richard Allen give each other good racing room there, actually, through the S's. Not always the easiest thing, but yeah, Jonathan Elliott doing a great defensive job at the moment, and you can see Joe Holmes watching. Is he coming? Is he coming? No, there isn't quite enough room for Richard Allen, but he's trying to tuck under. He's very intent on getting this move done. Is Richard Allen on Joe Holmes, both very experienced drivers in the Club 100 machine. Bradley Parrott, they're trying to get back at Dave Pethers, and also looking to capitalise. Behind them was Jason Bear, I think that was. I hope he didn't run out of room. No, he didn't, but he also didn't get the job done, so he still sits behind Bradley Parrott in 7th place.
Really becoming a ding-dong battle here between these guys at the front. You could see Richard Allen was itching to get past Holmes there, but Holmes being very defensive. And as you say, they are losing a little bit of time on the lead. I mean, we are talking a few tenths here. that tenths do matter, as Holmes does in fact set his personal best time, but Brearley down in 8th, setting the fastest time in the race with a 43.4. That is extremely quick, but only about 3 minutes left in this race, so I'm not sure he quite has the time to catch up to this lead pack.
Yeah, it wasn't Sean's highest grid slot of these heats, so he's had to be working his way up, but he is currently there in 8th place, sitting high up in this championship as well, don't forget. 4th place for the moment for the number 4 of Sean Brierley. Just under 3 minutes to go though. Jonathan Elliott now might want to begin to worry again, because the battle between Joe Holmes and Richard Allen has died down just a little bit, and that must mean that the hunting season for Jonathan Elliott has just started again at the front of this race. Jason Bear passed Bradley Parrott on that lap. Sorry, John.
No problem. I was just going to say that the slight gap that Elliott had has completely gone. This is now a 5 kart train? Or
25 karts. No. We haven't quite got that.
Not quite yet. No, not with the 17, 15 runners in the race. That would be
wait till the C5.
Yeah, we'll be getting around to that very soon. We got the heats coming thick and fast. But only 2 minutes left of this one, and as you say, Elliott now coming under a lot of pressure from Holmes as we go into the stadium section. He's going to try and sneak up the insides. Not quite going to happen there. Another all following line astern down into the hairpins. More defending going on as someone goes to the outside. That's number 26 of Richard Allen. Again, itching to get past, but he doesn't want to lose out too much time because there are 3 or 4 carts just behind him breathing down his neck too. So we're going to watch how these guys go around the rest of this lap.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see just that split-second decision Holmes had to make in the final phase of stadium. Like, do I go for that gap? No, that gap's going to close mightily quickly. And we don't want this to come to tears, because there are some good points and a good grid slot on offer should all of this go to plan.
It's not got a great exit though.
No, probably 2 more laps on this one. Joe Holmes just moving around there, but Chris Dixon saw the door open and has gone for it on Richard Allen, and Dave Pethers in the 92 won't need a second time of asking either. I think Allen will be able to hold on to that, but no, Pethers is going. Oh yeah, he has, and Pethers is actually under pressure there from Jason Bear as it happens, so no change there ultimately. Still very impressive job from Jonathan Elliott at the head of this field.
And this has now unleashed Mr. Dixon as well. He's going to join this 3-way battle for the lead as we come through the final corners of the track round Pylon and Complex Nouvelle into paddock. We're going to drive down full speed out of that final corner on to the start-finish straight as Dave Pethers has managed to get another penalty, another ABC takeout, so that's going to drop him 8 positions in total. Not the best for him. As we come round stadium, moving down through onto the hairpins, we've got Elliott, followed by Holmes, followed by Dixon. Elliott going to the inside to defend. He knows this is it, this is the final lap. He needs to cover him off. He's going to go to the inside again, just about holds that one as we're going to go into the final sector of the track.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 wide for the lead as well as they go there. Chris Dixon knew he had to duck out of that one, I think, as Joe Holmes looks for the gap into Complex Nouvelle, but brilliantly closed on him by Jonathan Elliott. I think this has been a superb defensive drive from Elliott. Drivers who want to learn how to defend, take note on this one. Look at the train of karts that's going to lead across the line, but it doesn't matter how close they are, it matters who's at the head of them, and that man is Jonathan Elliott, who takes a brilliant win in heat number 5. Joe Holmes in second, Chris Dixon in third, Dave Pethers, Jason Bear, Bradley Parrott, Richard Allen, Sean Brierley in 8th, 9th for Wayne Dunham and Jaden Cadigan in 10th. The top 6 are all within a second. Are you not entertained? We're going to head now into heat number 6 here at Rye House.
Here we are then for heat number 6 of the heavyweights for today. Hopefully this one can be just as good as that last one. We've got Harry Melvin on pole. Next to him is Simon Kavanagh. Behind them, Anwar Barul Smith and Richard Lavender, followed by Miguel Hall and Lee Whitney on 6th. Then Vinod Hirani on 7th, followed by Lenny Wood. Then Barry Litchford with Tom Fuller next to him. Then Steve Bosley and Chris Alcock on row 6. Matthew Batter, followed by Adam Highland. Then David Wilson and Zach Booth on row 8. Finishing out the grid are Andrew Hicks and Marcus Naris. And they're all coming around the final corner now. Going to make it onto the straight. It looks like we're about ready for a start. I believe we are. We've got Melvin on your left, Kavanagh on your right, and they are go. Revs rise. We're going to go into the first corner at Stadium. Who's going to make it work? Number 17 gets squeezed out to left. That is Kavanagh possibly dropping down to first. About to third, sorry. We've got Burrell Smith moving up into second. And Kavanagh's just going to be able to hold on to that third position, I do believe, from Miguel Hall. He's made a good start, up from fifth position. Now in fourth and hoping to grab third place as they come through the... oh, there's a little bit of bumping and barging there, a little bit of loading. Looks like 74 is going to make, oh my goodness, 2 sets of 3 wide there. That could have been really bad. That could have gone terribly wrong. But luckily, they've all made it through. Again, as we say, a little bit of argy-bargy, but overall doing okay. Some squeezing going on to this final corner, but the top 4 are leading in a big pack, a slight gap, and then they all follow through behind.
Yeah, I was really worried that Lee Whitney was literally going to get squeezed out of room as Anwar Burrell-Smith heads down the inside of Harry Melvin into stadium section. Good luck wishes coming in from In-Gear Motorsport for Harry, but he has had to concede the lead of this one to Anwar Burrell-Smith, and Simon Kavanagh has followed through as well into second. But yeah, that all got a bit leery on the first lap, and that's leery as well at hairpin 1, and that is Vinod Hirani in the 74 who's come to a stationary position there, spinning on the apex. We'll double check who else was involved in that one on timing for you as they come through. Through the pylon section of the course they go, and that's getting messy between Lenny Wood and I think that might have been Tom Fuller with that. It just needs to calm down in some of these groups within the heavyweights. This is not as clean as we were seeing this morning from our lightweights, as that looked like Barry Letchford putting in a move there. There's your leader, Anwar Burrell-Smith. Simon Kavanagh in second in the 17, and there's Miguel Hall going down the inside of Harry Melvin for the third place position. There's a little bit of a gap back then, a couple of seconds to Richard Lavender. And that's another spinner down at hairpin 1. So who was involved last time? It was Vinod Hirani, Marcus Naris I think may have been involved, and Matthew Batter in issues on that previous lap. So there are plenty of contact warnings coming through now. We've had one for Lee Whitney, one for Chris Alcott, one for Lenny Wood. Just need to tidy it up. It's not, you know, it's not an inexhaustible supply of contact warnings. They do become penalties if there are too many violations of it. That looks like Chris Alcott going past Richard Lavender. So Alcott up into 6th place now. This is Miguel Hall in 3rd, ahead of Harry Melvin in that 67 kart. I'm kind of happy to say with this one, to be honest. Just calm down just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. There were a couple of close-handed waves, I guess we'll say, between drivers. But yeah, they've all kind of calmed down a little bit now, and there's become a little bit more spaced out as we look at Burrell Smith. Getting quite a nice gap there, about 1.2 seconds onto Kavanagh, but doing very well is Kavanagh, leading the Class 2 charge and really fighting up there with the boys, as we got a little pack of 3 just behind them as well. That's the 102 leading that one, was it? No, it's not, because there's no number 102.
That's Barry Letchford in the 158.
I think it was the Richard Lavender, the 162, I want to say, leading that little pack of 3 back there, but we're looking slightly further forward than that, as there we are. That's who I was looking at, the blue plate. I believe that is indeed Richard Lavender's. He is going to be overtaken by Simon Bosley, and looks like, are they going to follow them through? Fuller is indeed setting up the inside at the final corner, muscling them out wide and taking it and giving an interesting hand signal as he goes through as well.
Yeah, Steve Bosley up to 7th then, Tom Fuller 8th and Richard Lavender in 9th. Lenny Wood in the top 10, having a difficult day of it. Of course, his first heat didn't go too well either. The contact with Matt Hale, wasn't it, down at hairpin number 1. Chris Alcott now, though, chasing Barry Letchford, trying to get onto the back of Harry Melvin as well.
Chris Alcott just set the fastest lap time of the race so far, a 43.4. That is extremely quick, and you can see he's got a massive gap back to the 72 behind him, so he's fully focused forward now. Only a couple of minutes left to go, so we see an absolute send of a mood from Mr. Fuller. Lovely little cheeky send up the inside there, and well, made it stick. Luckily no contact, so he should be good on that one.
Yeah, that was nicely done. In fact, was it? Sorry, that might have been Lee Whitney. It was Lee Whitney on Richard Lavender. Apologies. Hasn't been a good couple of laps for Richard Lavender, has it? No disrespect intended, but yeah, Lee Whitney was, sorry, getting by there. Barry Letchford now trying to battle away with Harry Melvin, but it's not gone well, and that's allowed Chris Alcott to seize the opportunity there and slip past him in the 160 up into 5th place. Nice reading of the situation by Chris.
It was very nice from him. Yeah, got an extra position with absolutely minimal time lost, and now all focus goes to Melvin ahead, trying to get as many points as possible, especially when you've got a couple of guys of your class out ahead of you. That was very wide.
Kavanagh's going to be under pressure here from Miguel Hall unless he managed to sort of stall them evenly.
Each other, yeah,
okay, that was mutually slowing each other down. As that Lee Whitney just with the fastest lap of the race there. Nice stuff there in his pursuit of Lenny Wood. But Simon Kavanagh definitely under pressure here from Miguel Hall, who's not a driver who's afraid to go for a bold move. Something I've always associated with Miguel Hall through all the time commentating on is he likes a good scrap, likes a good fight out there on the kart tracks. Has definitely puts in quite bold moves. Usually in a respectable way. That's not a loaded comment. He's quite a good fighter out there. Has some good dogfights out. We'll see now if he can get that point off of Simon Kavanagh. That's second place. Kavanagh, of course, your highest placed Class 2 runner. Anwar Burrell Smith out front at the moment. 2.2 seconds to the good with 1 minute left on the clock. There is Steve Bosley, who currently leads Tom Fuller through Stadium.
We've got a couple of penalties that have come through as well. A cone penalty for David Wilson, who is down in 15th. And then a forcing driver wide penalty for Tom Fuller, who's in 10th. He's going to lose a couple of positions from that as well. But as we look on track, now there's a number 8, Miguel Hall, as you were saying, likes to send a move, and I believe he should have one more lap after this to try and send one. Only a few tenths down on Simon Kavanagh. They are having a good little battle earlier, so hopefully they can carry that on into the final lap.
Yep, he will, though, of course, be caution of the situation. No point losing a good haul of points in your second heat of the day for a Banzo move, so we'll see how that goes. Harry Melvin, though, does have a Chris Alcott to worry about as well in this final lap. No mistake about that one. Alcott following the 67 of Melvin towards hairpin 1.
Yeah, that last lap was a personal best for Melvin, but it was still slower than Alcott, so he's applying lots of pressure into this final lap.
Absolutely. Coming onto the back straight, I can tell you that the leader in the form of Burrell Smith just going through Complex Nouvelle now, so we'll have to keep an eye on him as he comes through. It settled down into a nice little scrap, though, this race. Perhaps a bit leery at the start. Still needs to calm down a little bit. This man, though, kept his head cool. Anwar Burrell Smith is going to cross the line to take a heat win there. Nice stuff there from the driver of the number 2. Simon Kavanagh holds on to second place. Very respectable there. Ahead of Miguel Hall.
Crash.
As there's a big
massive crash.
moment out there. And it was Lenny Wood at the line. Yeah, what we heard there, sorry, was tyre squeal. So it's dramatic there. No one seems to be harmed in that, I should say.
I believe he hit the barrier by
but
the
yeah, that I'm not quite sure what happened.
Yeah,
we just heard the screen. We're going to see a replay potentially. Oh, yeah, look at that. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I can see why. Yes. Blimey. I'm glad to know that Lenny's all right after that one. Very unusual. Not seen that happen at Rye House before. Anwar Burrell Smith anyway, Kavanagh, Miguel Hall, Melvin Alcott, Letchford, Whitney, Bosley, Fuller and Lavender round out your top 10 as they replace that tyre barrier there. And hopefully Lenny's all right after that one. Heat number 7 is coming up next here at Rye House. Here's your grid for heat number 7 then. Alexander Lamin on pole with Bill Taylor alongside Oliver Moss and Richard Masterson on row 2. Row 3 is Steve Lindley and Kevin Coombs. Row 4 is going to be Alex Pritchard and Adam Wright with Jeremy Deeks and Matthew Hale to round out your top 10. Matt Wildman and Paul Williams will be on row number 6. Row 7, Martin Robinson and Daniel Hollinshead. Jack Bevington and Chris Warson are on row 8. Row 9 is going to be Matt Griffiths and Elliot Taylor, which I think means that we've got a nice block. That's 3 rows of Class 3 runners. We've got a nice little Class 3 derby going on in this heat, quite well represented. It has to be said. Let's take a look at the start, though. Happy to say Lenny Wood is okay after that impact with the tyre barrier there. Alexander Lamin, though, leads them away from pole position. You can see already Bill Taylor's looking to cover off the inside, but it's not going to be enough. Oliver Moss is going to be down the inside early on, and indeed he's going to take the lead there as they head down towards hairpin 1 for the first time, and there is some contact at the hairpin. There are some carts around at the back, so we'll update on who that is. Yeah, it was. Robinson. It was indeed Martin Robinson. Some of our novice drivers, I think, coming together towards the back of the field. And yeah, it does need to tidy up here a little bit between us. They're going 3 wide out of Complex Nouvelle, which is unusual. They're all going to have to give themselves racing room. I'll have to say that they do. Oliver Moss, though, is going to come through to lead at the end of lap number 1. Steve Lindley in second, Alexander Lamin in third at the moment. There's Matt Warman chasing Jeremy Deeks. And here is Steve Lindley as well in the 47, defending that second place from Lamin. As the number 70 of Warman shoots down the inside of Deeks at hairpin 1. They're going to be side by side on the next straight. And that's not going to go Warman's way. In fact, Jeremy Deeks is going to be side by side then with Pritchard. With Coombs. As they come through into Complex Mill, there is Pritchard in the 77 trying to look for an inside, but he's going to be pushed onto the grass, for certain in that situation, and has to duck out of it. Again, they all keep it going. It's just quite robust, and there's moments where I'm really worrying about how some of these are going to end. There's the 155 of Matt Hale going side by side with Jeremy Deeks through the stadium section, whilst behind them there is the battle between Pritchard and charging Adam Wright through the field. I have to say, this is one of those days where Adam Wright shows his consistency. He just cleanly gets through this field and manages to accrue those points. As there's a moment there with Jeremy Deeks going on the offensive with Adam Wright, but Wright is through now on the tail of Matt Hale in their battle over what I think is still 7th. It might be 6th, actually. Yes, it will, because they've both got past Jeremy Deeks on this lap.
I was going to say, Jeremy Deeks lost out big time at hairpin 1, but forced out wide by a few drivers, and then decided to take out on someone else through hairpin 2, giving him a little bump as he went past, as he gets a contact warning. 2 contact warning come through for that lap. So yeah, as you say, some of the drivers just need to calm down a little bit.
That might just be a reshowing of the graphic, to be fair, but I understand what you mean. So yeah, Steve Lindley on second, doing something that Steve Lindley does very well, which is defending hard. He just clips the curve slightly though through hairpin 2. It's going to slow both himself and Alexander Lamin up slightly, and it allows Matt Warman to get the switch back and get through at least the first of those 2 up into 3rd place for Matt Warman now, as Alex Pritchard leads Matt Hale and the rest of the karts out of Complex Nouvelle. You can see Paul Williams there having a battle with, I think it's Matt Griffiths, very experienced driver. Paul Williams. And here is Matt Warman robustly going for it on Steve Lindley, and he gets the job done there. I think that's firm but fair. I think Lindley was defending hard, Matt Warman was attacking hard, and it went the way of Warman on this occasion. Pritchard still ahead of Hale and Wright in that battle over 5th, as we continue to look at Lindley versus Lamin. Alexander trying to find a way through, but it won't be in that part of the lap, he thinks. Kevin Coombs there in 8th place, leading Jeremy Deeks, and Bill Taylor out of Complex Nouvelle as well. Through the final corner onto a new lap. Fastest lap of the race, 43 dead from Matt Warman. And there's the battle between Coombs, Deeks and Taylor again going through stadium. Paul Williams trying to get onto terms with them, and Steve Lindley's going defensive again here against Alexander Lamin, and this battling is allowing Pritchard to lead Hale and Wright up onto the back of this, so it's going to become quite the train of karts behind Steve Lindley. But as I say, there's a bit of a... He's known to put on a good defence here, is Lindley, so it's going to be an interesting one.
It'll definitely be very interesting, especially if he continues to defend as harshly as you say. He's going 2 by 2 through there. It's always makes me wince. I'm so nervous of the front and rear bumper just getting entangled with each other and sending someone straight to the shadow realm. But seemingly okay this time, moving on to another lap. They continue following Linus Stern through the stadium section. Who is leading this pack? I believe it is still Lindley, followed by Lamin, then Pritchard, and then Hale behind, followed by Alex Wright. As Alex Wright sends the move on Hale, he might actually get 2 here. Not quite. The 77 of Pritchard manages to stay ahead going into the second hairpin, but a decisive move from Wright on his fellow Class 1 driver Hale, dropping Hale to 7th place.
Yeah, absolutely good stuff there from Wright. It's still Steve Lindley doing his best Gandalf impression here and making sure that no one shall pass. straight over to driver's right.
Just to point out that Moss has lost a gap of 2.2, went down to 1.5, and now it's down to 0.9 with 1 minute 45 to go. He's catching pretty quickly as Whilton.
Very good point, and it comes courtesy of the fastest lap of the race from Whilton, a 42.8 as Adam Wright goes down the inside of Pritchard, prizes open the door, but there's contact made, and Matt Hale is going to look to capitalise, but he might be run out of road. No, he has got room there. Adam Wright's going to have to pull out of that one, I'd have thought, as they're going to go 3 wide on the back straight nearly, but Lamin's going to stay just ahead of them. Matt Hale's going to just goes almost jumping up and down in the seat to try and get the better of Adam Wright there, and it pays off. So try jumping up and down, folks. Might help there as he rode over the bumps on the back straight. But it is now Matt Hale up into 6th place ahead of Adam Wright.
And the gap between the top two is now 0.3. He is right on his bumper, and I would say hopefully the camera boys can switch over to this leading battle, as here we are going into the first hairpin of 2. We've got Moss leading Whilton, and look at that, Whilton is literally on his bumper right now. Literally on his bumper as he's going to go for it. On exit, they're side by side, but who's going to have the bigger cojones going into this left-hander? They do keep side by side. He just sneaks in there on the inside, a little bit of argy-bargy, but I say that is fair. Whilton up into the lead, a decisive mood. He's made it stick, and fantastic performance from him. Keep the pace and takes, well, hopefully the win if he can hold it together.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that move in my mind. Found the gap, prized it open, slid the kart through. Nicely done from Matt Whilton there, ahead of Oliver Moss. As we are on to the last lap, so as you say, John, probably coming through.
The gaggle just behind is getting very intense now. We've got Steve, 5 guys fighting over this third position.
Steve, here he is, still in 3rd place. Fair play to this man, defending so well, positioning his kart and causing the guys behind to basically battle in amongst themselves. Adam Wright tries to get up the inside of Alexander Lamin in that 36, but clips the curb slightly and loses pace as a result, coming onto the back straight. So it's now Pritchard, Hale, Lamin and Wright, as Matt Whilton is going to come through to take the win in heat number 7. Oliver Moss finishes 2nd. Steve Lindley, though, is going to come through. He's held them all back, finishes 3rd, bags the points. Alex Pritchard in 4th. Matt Hale got past Lamin, as we saw on that last lap. Adam Wright in 7th. Kevin Coombs is going to lead home that battle. Has been going pretty much all race long as well, between himself, Bill Taylor and Paul Williams. Good little race, that one. I know we're seeing some robust moves and whatnot on the first lap, but on the whole, that was a fun one. That the last heat of the second rotation, then heat number 8 is coming right up for you here on your Alpha Live stream at Rye House.
Now, as we say, time for heat number 8. We're rolling through them thick and fast, and here comes hopefully another good one for your eyes. We've got Tim Hill on pole with Richard Newton alongside him on 2nd. Lee Henderson and Lewis Ridd make up the 2nd row, followed by Mikey Nichols and Mike Bodner. Then it's Vijay Patel in 7th, with Rory Seven in 8th, George Hatto in 9th, and Jordan Salter in 10th, being followed by Anthony Ridd and Kieran Chigsey in 12th. Then we've got Luke Haynes and Lawrence Cheer on 7th row. Then Samuel Bensley and Joel Argills. And then followed by Luca Staccani Azano and Chris Solomon. As we go for the start, we got number 32 on the left, Richard Newton with Tim Hill on the right. Can the 2nd place man lead through? He can. 1st place man loses a load of positions there, dropping down to about 4th or 5th, I'd say. There are a lot of argy-bargy through the stadium section, but they've all kind of just managed to keep it together. We've got a 2x2x2 from about 5th to 10th. As this is being very interesting, and there's people getting balked, little hand gestures going on everywhere, and people losing a few positions. Frustrating for them, as there's a big spin. I'm not sure who that is. It's blocked by a bush from our angle, but someone's
on the grass on driver's left as they head towards.
There he is.
Hairpin
He's
2.
gone through a big puddle there. Oh no, he's all muddy. That is.
I think that's Vijay.
That's a big damper. 128, I think it was.
Could be, that's what I'm thinking. Vijay Patel. I think it's the 126.
126.
I don't think Tim Hill's in this race. I don't think he took to the grid.
No.
Okay. We're hearing from the producer that pole position not being used in this race. So Hill definitely not out there.
Vijay Patel just had to jump off of the racing line back into his kart as to not get taken out by the drivers.
The drivers need to be a bit more respectful of yellow flags than that. I think Richard Newton, though, with Lewis Ridd behind him for the lead battle. Here is the lead pack heading through the through Complex Nouvelle. Vijay Patel has been given a penalty, which is for forcing a driver wide, which is perhaps going to be salt in the wounds when he was the driver who was stationary there.
He's lost the lap, got a penalty, and is now covered in mud as well.
Yeah, it's not been a good few laps for him, but
and we have got a slippery surface flag as well.
Yeah, we have, and that's because he'll have got started off with the grass, and there'll be a bit of water just coming into that hairpin too at the crucial point where you are going to have the very short. And there is Lewis Ridd demonstrating the point exactly, and there they come. This is exactly it. As we're doing some synchronised spinning. Oh dearie me!
The flags are out.
The flag is. They don't put the slippery surface flag out for fun, guys. Let's get this right. Always difficult to judge, don't get me wrong, but yeah, that's what happens when you run your slick Club 100 tyres over some a muddy, watery surface. So I think the slippery surface flag, rightly so, is staying out for another lap there. Richard Newton still leads. Lewis Ridd in second. We've got a super heavyweight leader at the moment. As such,
Kieran Chicksy's done very well out of that. He gained 3 positions on the last lap, moving up to
Jordan Salter, Rory 7, Mike Bodner all lost heavily from spinning there. Will they get it right this time around? Here they are heading to the same part of the track. And yeah, that's a bit better. That's more like it. As they'll work out onto the back straight.
We've got a super heavyweight, followed by a Class 1, followed by a Class 2. So everyone involved in this one.
What that's had the effect of, though, is everyone's spread out a little bit, we say, as we watch Jordan Salter right on the bumper of Anthony Ridd. A new fastest lap of the race from Lewis Ridd, though. In fact, a lot of people setting a new fastest lap of the race there. Everything's just paced up. And here is Jordan Salter. Very bold move there down the inside of Stadium, and he's going to make that one stick. That was a nice move there from Salter to get himself past Cheer, isn't it? It's Lawrence Cheer, I think, who's got past there, up into 6th place. Racing well today is Jordan, albeit perhaps I think involved in the spin on that last lap when all the greasy surface was out, but he's definitely got the racecraft down today.
Yeah, definitely with that interesting move. But as you say, driver's a little bit more spread out now, so I think this is going to be a little bit more chill than the past couple of races we've seen. But as I say,
here's a battle for the lead.
We've got 97, Mr. Ridd, bearing down on Richard Newton, who is still in the lead, being one of the super heavyweights. Big shout out to him. He's doing very, very well, commanding the field as it is right now. But Ridd is now breathing down his neck, taking a lovely line through there. And he's right on his bumper. He might look for it into the secondary hairpin. Not quite going to happen there. Keeping it held under brakes, and it's going to follow him down into pylon. As here they go. Fast section this into a heavy braking zone. When people go side by side through there, my toes do curl, but they've managed to keep it all together, and he's still following through. Ridd looking for the perfect opportunity to make this pass done, as he knows he's got a few minutes left, and as soon as you get into a bit of a kerfuffle here, you lose a lot of time and people catch up very quickly. So he's going to have to pick out this move perfectly.
Yeah, I have wondered about this if Class 1 runners, when they see that they're the only Class 1 runner in that particular heat, suddenly start piling the pressure on them and thus sort of undermining their own, like, I should win this on balance. So I do wonder about it. Maybe they don't pay too much attention. It's just another grid of drivers to beat, but always interesting that. Anthony Ridd has got past Lawrence Cheer side by side for the lead of the race. Down the back straight goes Lewis Ridd, but he's not going to be able to get past there. Richard Newton positioned the kart well there, and good respect and racing room shown between them, going side by side there on the back straight. And there is Mikey Nichols leading the fight for third as well, with Kieran Chigsey catching up onto the back of him. Here we go again though, Lewis Ridd prizing open the door, and surely he's going to send that down the inside of Stadium to take the lead. Nicely judged there by Lewis Ridd. Was happy to, I think, and this is important, I know it's a sprint championship, I know people don't have a huge amount of time in their hands, but made the decision on that back straight of now is not the time to go all in. Let's wait a bit and see the opportunity. And now here comes Mikey Nichols down the inside of Richard Newton. It's important that Newton keeps on the rhythm. In fact, Newton is going to fight back to stay on the rhythm, as Kieran Chigsey is playing host to George Hatto behind as well. And he's going to go down the inside of pylon, but he's going to be hung out to dry out of Complex Nouvelle. And I'd have thought that was going to allow the black and orange suit of George Hatto to fight back. And they're all slowing each other up here and allowing Mikey Nichols to sprint away. But it is, at the moment at least, Richard Newton ahead of Kieran Chigsey, George Hatto, and then Jordan Salter, who must feel that some of his Christmases have come early, because all of them fighting has allowed him to get onto the back of this race, holding as he does the fastest lap of the race so far, a 43.4.
That's Chigsy and Hatto both going up the inside there. Looks like 28's going to try and follow him through. That was a deep dive from the number 32 on the apex, manages to hold it together, but gets eaten alive by the rest of them.
Newton's got a problem.
Yeah,
Newton's got a problem. You can see him stomping on the throttle pedal there. He lost drive or something there, but he's still going.
That's why he's been falling back pretty quickly then.
Yeah,
so
potentially.
Move on to the final lap now. This obviously all this battle has allowed for Rid to just storm off. Really, he's now 2 seconds in the lead, and there's another 1.5 back from Nichols to Chigsy. But we'll keep watching this battle. Here's the leader.
Yeah,
just enjoying
battle
himself.
for third that just swooped into the back of your shot there. I think the closest thing on this final lap between Chigsy and Salter. But yeah, Rid's judged this one well. Bided his time with taking the lead of this one, didn't he? And it's paid off.
I thought he was jumping at it a little bit down the front straight, but actually it turned out to work a charm. As here we go, looking back to the third place battle.
Salter's
That's
done it.
Salter. He's gotten through into third position. Great from him. Followed by Chigsy, and then you've got the 28. I believe that is Hatto, and then Rid just behind him. Someone else joining as well. So we're going to come around the final corner. I believe Rid is going to take the win as he comes across the line there. Fantastic race from him, followed by Nichols in second. Salter, as we said, got him on the final lap to take third position. Almost 3 wide across the line there for those boys, but it was Chigsy in fourth, with Hatto in fifth, Rid in sixth, and Chi in seventh, Seven in eighth, Newton in ninth, Bodner in 10th, Henderson in 11th, and that is, I'm afraid, all I was able to read before the timings changed.
And it changed because they're already coming out for heat number 9. The third final rotation of heats here coming up next on your Alpha Live stream of round 5. Let's have a look at your grid then. Sean Briley is going to take this one from pole with Wayne Dunham alongside Matt Wildman and Tom Fuller are on row 2 with Richard Lavender and Tim Williams on row number 3. Row 4 is going to be Harry Melvin and Simon Kavanagh, Adam Wright and Miguel Hall rounding out your top 10. Kevin Coombs and Vidal Hirani are row 6, with row 7 occupied by Matt Griffiths and Carolus Conchicas. Jaden Cadigan and Martin Robinson are on row 8, with row 9 of the 18 kart grid occupied by David Wilson and Zach Booth. Pointing flag that we just managed to catch as Sean Briley is going to lead them away. Wayne Dunham in the 66 on your right, driver's left as they swoop into stadium. Will Matt Wildman fire down the inside? Yes, he will. In fact, he's going to go all the way for the lead is Matt Wildman and find the space. That was a beautiful start from the number 70 of Matt Wildman as they head down to hairpin 1 for the first time. And Wayne Dunham's round. Wayne Dunham has spun round there. Didn't see what led to that, but he's definitely not happy about what led to that. And that is from quite high up, so he's lost out on a good opportunity. That's his highest grid slot as Miguel Hall is battling away onto the back straight. So yeah, frustration aplenty there for Wayne Dunham.
Well, Simon Kavanagh got a bump and pass penalty for that, so I can only assume he must have been the causer of that incident. Sent the other driver to the back of the grid. There's another penalty through for Tim Williams as well for a bump and pass, so could have really been either. Guy's getting a bit too leery through the first hairpins.
Yeah, Sean Briley leads. Matt Wildman himself. Sean Briley did get it back from Matt Wildman then in the latter half of the lap as we were trying to pick up the pieces and put them together of what happened there. But yes, here it is, the number 4 ahead of the 70. It's a cracking start for Matt Wildman, but Briley's been able to claw it back. Kavanagh doing well again in third here, ahead of Lavender and Tom Fuller. There's Adam Wright, who has now got by Tom Fuller, so change there with the 3 ahead of the 153.
I've got to say, that was the best start I've seen today from Wildman. That was fantastic. What a move up the inside at the end of the first corner. And yeah, it was really, really decisive with that start. But sadly, well, sadly for him anyway, he's lost out on that lead to Brearley. And we'll see how this carries on through this race. But look at this pack. It looked like that was Wright going for a move up the inside there. See how that one works out. But we look back to the leaders as we've got Wildman focusing on the back of Brearley. Can he do anything about it? Quite close into hairpin 1. Looks again into hairpin 2.
Yeah, indeed. Good positioning so far by Sean Briley in that number 4. Matt Wildman, though, has been able to find a gap on the right-hand side, but no, Briley's going to shut that door nice and definitively. Simon Kavanagh is going to be licking his lips as well in the back of this. Is there an opportunity going to come his way? These are 2 fairly experienced and accomplished Class 1 runners ahead of him. Should do battle, hopefully, in a clean way. Briley takes a slightly tighter line into stadium just to deter a repeat of lap number 1 from Mr. Wildman.
Don't forget that Simon Kavanagh in third does have a 4-place penalty for bump and pass as well, though.
Okay. Good point, well made. Miguel Hall past Tom Fuller for 6th place. And Matt Griffiths as well, just got past Vinod Hirani to get himself up into the top 10 as well on the last lap. Still plenty of this one to go. So if you're Matt Warman, you could choose to could elect to work together with Sean Briley and try and bridge the gap a little bit.
Kavanagh is right on the back of them now.
There is that pressure being applied there. That's true. Even so, as a 3, you might want to work together. As that looked like Matt Griffiths exploring the limits of the track and possibly going over them at the final corner. Matt Warman, though, with a good run now towards hairpin 1. Briley's covered the inside, though, so it's going to have to be on corner exit.
They are not working together.
They're not working together at all, are they? No, Warman is going to try and get the switch back again, but he just nerfs the curve a little bit, and that's going to deter his momentum going down the back straight and allow Briley to retain the lead and actually pull a little bit away as they go through Complex Nivelle and through the S's into Paddock Corner. Try and optimise that exit onto the start-finish straight for the start of another lap.
Wildman getting a track limit warning, sorry, a curb warning, my apologies, for slamming that curb on the exit of, the entrance of hairpin 2. So we've got to make sure he doesn't do that again, because more warnings lead to more penalties. As here we go, number 3. That is right, sitting on the inside of Lavender. Lavender's going to try and cut back. There's some gesticulating going on behind. Number 103 giving the position back, I believe, there after a not too successful, sorry, 153, my apologies.
Yeah, it's Tom Fuller just deciding that he should maybe allow Miguel Hall back through lest he get a penalty, which is good heads-up driving. We'd like to see that. No need to worry race control about giving him a penalty if you can just correct the issue immediately. New fastest lap of the race from Matt Warman, which brings him to within 3/10 of Sean Briley at the head of the field, which means he will have had the help of a bit of a draft effect from Mr. Briley on that lap, but that's all what it's about. Getting yourself into the slipstream, into the wheel track, starting to apply the pressure that way until the opportunity opens out for you. Here they are on the back straight. They'll go across to driver's right and then clatter the karts across the curb at that pylon. Within reason, of course, with all respect to John Viger's lovely Club100 go-karts. And they'll go out onto, that's a cut, ooh, that's a kart testers having a bit of fun, I think, in the exit of the pit lane. Or a misunderstanding. That looked a little bit weird as I saw it in the pit exit there. But anyway, we focus on the leaders. Warman, again, is having a good run here, but Briley knows just where to put his kart to deter it. And the thing is that he's realised that giving Warman the overspeed between the two hairpins doesn't matter, because Warman can't quite do anything with it unless he can tuck under this time, but he hasn't got enough there. So, yeah, this is good defensive driving here from Sean Briley, just doing enough all the time to not be too slow, but yet still to do enough that prevents your opponent from really stuffing a move down the inside or some such. As we cut back to Miguel Hall, now past Tom Fuller, not yet past Richard Lavender, so yet, because he is closing in. Actually, no, he's not. The gap has gone out on that last lap. So fair play to Richard Lavender in that 5th place, running well in this heat at the moment. Simon Kavanagh having a relatively quiet one, as now is Adam Wright, although he's slowly reeling in 3rd place, courtesy of the fastest lap of the race.
Wildman nearly sent the dummy there into the first hairpin. He's trying to get a good exit here going down into pylon, but again, not quite able to get it done. Seemingly the same every single lap. Riley being able to close the door there into pylon and going on to what I believe now will be the final lap. Can he hold on for one more?
Yeah, final lap board about to be shown here. Here it is then. Can Sean Briley hold off Matt Warman, as he had done for so many laps? This is where Warman's been quite strong, coming through Stadium and having the overspeed here, heading towards hairpin 1, but he's going to have to do something different now, and Briley is surely going to be over to driver's right, so Matt Warman goes, okay, I'll go wide and take the normal racing line, but here's the thing, is there space to do anything with the excess speed here? He's going to try and go on the outside and try and hook up as he's been trying all race. Oh no, he goes different this time, tries to swerve it around the outside. Now that could be interesting. He'll have the inside line at pylon. Can he get through and close the door? Beautiful move by Matt Warman. That was brilliant stuff. That matched, I think, his start to the race as well. Beautiful move on the last lap, and it's going to give Matt Wildman his second heat win of the day. Here he comes to win heat number 9. I've got to say, I am a big fan of how he executed that pass on the last lap. Good, and that's good to see. I think good respect shown between Wildman and Briley. It was good defensive driving from Briley. It was good attacking driving from Wildman, and went the way of Wildman on this occasion. Kavanagh, the highest placed, class 2 in 3rd. Adam Wright, Richard Lavender, your top 5. I'm going to end it right there because already heat 10 are coming out onto track. Heavyweight heat number 10 then. Chris Alcott will start this one from pole. Barry Letchford alongside him. Anthony Ridd and Matt Hale on row 2. Richard Masterson and Anwar Barul-Smith make up row number 3. Row 4 is going to be Alexander Lammin and Chris Dixon with Rory 7 and Richard Allen rounding at the top 10. George Boothby and Alex Pritchard are on row 6. Row 7 is Chris Solomon and Andrew Hicks. Adam Hyland and Luke Haynes are row 8. And rounding out the 9-car grid is Jack Bebbington and Chris Wharton. There we go then, that's our grid for our anti-penultimate heavyweight heat of the day, i.e. we have 2 more to go after this one. There again is a flag that we just happen to choose to show on this day. Can't think why really, as we're going to be good for the start here. Chris Alcock leads them away. A lot of Class 1 runners towards the head of this grid though. It's going to be interesting and competitive into turn 1, and through they go at Stadium Corner. Anthony Ridd getting off to a good start up into 2nd place, I can see. And there's quite a bit of G3 Pro interest here in the form of Barry Letchford and Matt Hale, originally part of that G3 Pro stable, who have so many teams competing in the Endurance Championship that races on a Saturday. Chris Dixon there going alongside Richard Masterson in their battle, and that's Alex Pritchard as well, battling away with Rory 7 in the number 19, and it's going to go the way of Pritchard there, but it is going to be Chris Alcott who retains his pole position to come across the line at the end of lap number 1. Matt Hale's got himself into 2nd place, having just got by Anthony Ridd there, I think, as they crossed the line quite literally. And there's Anwar Barul-Smith getting past Barry Letchford, so Barul-Smith in the 2, now ahead of the 156. No, he's not actually. Yes, he is, sorry. There you go, you see, I get Letchford and Matt Hale mixed up just because they've got a G3 Pro suit on. There we go. Chris Dixon now ahead of Barry Letchford as well. So all change on this lap. So that timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen is going to be changing quite a bit as they come around to finish this one. It is Matt Hale in 2nd still. But I think Chris Alcott's opened up the gap a little bit with all that battling. So it's Chris Alcott, Matt Hale, Anwar Barul-Smith are your top 3, and then it is the 68 of Anthony Ridd, Chris Dixon and Barry Letchford to round out this slightly broken away now group of 6 at the front.
Yeah, Alcock doubled his lead on that last lap, up to 1.7 seconds now. So realistically, if all this battling keeps on happening behind, then he should be okay.
As onto the back straight comes Rory 7 now to try and get onto the tail of Richard Masterson. Here is the battle over 2nd place. Anwar Barul-Smith in 3rd. Now riding the wheel tracks of Matt Hale. What kind of run is he going to have onto this new lap? Matt Hale's going to cover the inside. Anwar Barul-Smith is going to go, all right, I'm just going to try and get the switch back midway through the corner. Can he prise open the door doing such? Yes, he can. That is why Anwar Barul-Smith has several championships to his name. And now Matt Hale's under pressure from Anthony Ridd in the 68. There's a bit of rubbing his race, and Chris Dixon's getting involved. Barry Letchford's getting involved, and how did they manage to all avoid the tyres? And Barry Letchford's going to be on the grass and face the wrong way. They're all going to have to split either side of him. I'm relieved to see that they manage it, but that was costly for Barry Letchford, and that's not for the first time we've seen that kink in the straight between their hairpins leading to someone being run out of road, and going 3 wide, even 4 wide there, someone's going to lose out big.
Yeah, we saw it was 3 wide there, both kind of heart in the mouth. I think for a while there, thought it was going to be an even larger accident than it was in the end, but luckily all of them making it out relatively safe. But yeah, as you say, Letchford not coming out of it very well, dropping down to 16th place and last. And
what I think about this, John, is I think we're going to see some really, we're going to talk about the finals not too far from now, in the promotion spots that there are in the finals. with the lightweights this morning, by and large, I think the drivers broadly lined up where there were a few out of position maybe, but there weren't too many drivers who were always looking, oh, wow, they're really probably going to be looking to get through up into the promotion spots. If I think of drivers like Lenny Wood, who's had several incidents today, not of his making. You know, he's been spun out at hairpins, he's been in contact with that tyre barrier that we can just see on screen. Just a very odd and frustrating day for him. I think he's going to be looking to, he's going to be a prime candidate to try and get those promotion spots. The pressure is definitely going to be on. But yeah, that's all yet to come here on your Alpha Live stream of round 5 of the Club 100 Sprint Championships for 2021. Chris Alcock leads by nearly 3 seconds, excuse me. Anwar Brule-Smith in second, who's 2 seconds ahead of Anthony Ridd, who leads this train of karts right now. Anthony Ridd, Matt Hale, Richard Allen, Chris Dixon, the current order at the head of it. Alex Pritchard as well in the 77 on the tail of it. Chris Alcock sets a new fastest lap of the race, just in case there was any doubt that he was in the lead. And here is the battle then for third place, swooping into Stadium Corner. Matt Hale has a good run actually through Reggie's elbow. Going to try and look for a way through, but the inside is covered by Ridd, and that might allow an opportunity for Richard Allen to get alongside Matt Hale. It is, and there is room given, but he's going to have to hang it around the outside of Richard Allen. It can be done here. We saw it in the last race, but not if there's a little bit of bumping and barging. And a Chris Dixon trying to get involved, and there's 2 wheels on the grass. And, well, I'd say well held, but to be fair, the spin was corrected by Alex Pritchard. And considering how dramatic that looked and how much of a heart-in-the-mouth moment that was, I think that was actually quite lucky for Chris Dixon that he did not lose out as heavily as he might well have done. Anthony Ridd now still in third, but Richard Allen has found a way through on Matt Hale, and Alex Pritchard is going to look for the gap as well on Matt Hale, but it's going to be closed off to him. So it's now Richard Allen up into 4th place, as Anthony Ridd's going to go defensive again. Still plenty of time left on the clock with this one, it has to be said. Hairpin 2 again, Anthony Ridd in this 68 kart is going to defend for Richard Allen and Matt Hale. Yeah, it's thoroughly entertaining to watch this one, albeit there's a few dramatic moments that make me wince slightly.
Ridd is doing a great job at defending that 3rd position, but as you say, what it's causing behind is absolute chaos, because no one's able to get in front of him even, but then they're all jostling for position behind as well. So, as we say, Chris Dixon did get quite lucky there with being turned around into the correct direction by Pritchard, only dropping him to 7th and keeping him in this big battle. But karts going defensive, going attacking all over the shop. We've got, what's that, 3, 6, 9, even 3 more are now joining the back of the pack. This is a huge pack fighting for 3rd position.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anthony Ridd leads them onto the back straight again. Everyone down to, oh gosh, I'm going to say everyone down to Andrew Hicks in 11th place in 149 as part of this pack. So really quite a lot of them as we're on to the final lap. So come on, mate, we're going to find out over the next tour of the circuit who finishes 3rd. Chris Alcott's looking pretty good for 1st, and Anwar Brule-Smith for 2nd. But can Anthony Ridd keep this door closed? He's going to go hard to the left in defence. Richard Allen as well has to worry about Matt Hale. I think actually they've got a bit of space over Alex Pritchard. Matt Hale has a good run, but he can't really go down the inside of hairpin 2, so decides to swoop back to the left and have an overspeed. But will he be able to do anything with it? He's going to get his nose alongside. Got to be careful doing that. We saw what happened to Chris Dixon, but he's managed to keep that together. We look to the front though, because Chris Alcock, he just checked out the front. He's already across the line, guys. He's actually got home and ready to watch the football, actually. Anwar Brule-Smith finishes 2nd. Good win for Chris Alcock. Anwar Brule-Smith 2nd. Anthony Ridd holds on for 3rd. Everybody else in 4th. And no, that was brilliant. Anthony Ridd 3rd. Richard Allen, Matt Hale, Alex Pritchard, Chris Dixon, Alexander Lally, Rory 7th, and Richard Masterson round out your top 10 of what was a fantastic train of karts to watch. Thoroughly entertained with that. Penultimate heat is next here at Rye House.
And here we are for heat number 11. Hopefully they're all as close as that last one. That was 3rd place to 13th within about 2 seconds. Crazy, but here we go for heat 11. We've got Paul Williams on pole, followed by Jeremy Deeks, then Steve Bosley and Jordan Salter, followed by Lewis Ridd and Oliver Moss. Then we move on to row 4. It's Tim Hill and Richard Newton. Behind them, Lenny Wood and Mikey Nichols, then Mike Bodnar and Vijay Patel. Hopefully he can have a better performance in this one. Then we've got Marcus Narris, followed by Daniel Hollinshead. Then behind them, Blake Temperley and Samuel Bensley. And finally, on number 17th position is Luke Phillips, as I believe they're coming around the final corner, getting ready to get underway. We've got Paul Williams in the number 65, and then Jeremy Deeks in number 33 as the revs rise, and we go into corner number 1.
Absolutely, Paul Williams' experienced head leads them away. Going to be interesting to see what Lewis Ridd can do from high up on the grid. As a turn one, that's a little bit of a moment there for Jeremy Deeks, getting on the outside but manages to gather it back up. But what it has done is it's allowed our pole sitter to romp away with a little bit of quite a lead here early on. That's not rain I'm seeing on the camera, is it? No, I don't think it is. There are a few clouds in the sky though here. It's not the wall-to-wall sunshine of the morning. The 32 of Richard Newton there looking to attack the 72 of Steve Bosley, who has slotted into 2nd place. So walk through the pylon complex again. We'll come through to finish this lap, but it is going to be Paul Williams who leads them across the line here at the end of lap 1. Very experienced head there. Steve Bosley in 2nd, but there was Lewis Ridd just going down the inside of Richard Newton. He's got the job done. The 97, the yellow-plated Class 1 driver, ahead of the green 32-plated super heavyweight of Richard Newton. So Ridd up into 3rd place. Breaking now into hairpin 2. Richard Newton now has Jordan Salter for his attention in his final heat of what's been a very good morning for Jordan. By and large, I think he can be very pleased with how he's gone in the heat. There is Oliver Moss, the only other Class 1 runner in the field apart from Lewis Ridd. Coming through to start the new lap is Paul Williams. The 72 of Steve Bosley going defensive there against Lewis Ridd.
Look, Paul Williams' racing is as good as his helmet. He should easily storm away with this one. What a beauty that is, especially with the suit combo. But here's a few guys rubbing his racing, as we say. Moss trying to make the most of it, but not quite going to be able to there. He's got Newton and Salter just ahead, having a good little battle. Moss is going to try and get the overspeed down into pylon, but it's not quite going to work. Now to follow through in single file again as usual. 32 of Richard Newton is the highest super heavyweight currently in this race, I do believe. So he's doing very well there, up in 4th, I believe that is. So very nice from him in the red suit. As here we go, looking down into the first corner. 72 covers the inside. He's actually going to go for the move on.
He is,
the inside of 65. Williams, as I was saying, his lid is lovely. He's dropping down to 2nd and maybe even now 3rd. He has got the inside over Ridd down into this hairpin, so he should be able to keep it, and he does. And number 32 Newton is going to make the most of that. They're now going to go side by side, the Class 1 and the super heavyweight side by side. A little bit of argy-bargy from 42 behind that. Salter getting back up and being able to overtake just about. They could go side by side. No, they are okay. Going single file into pylon, definitely for the best, I'd say, for the best, going single file through there.
Agreed. Steve Bosley, though, to the lead. Very good move there. Bold move. He was doing it half in attack, half in defence, going for the lead of the race, and has got the job done. So Bosley up into the lead. Paul Williams now defending against Lewis Ridd, who's looking for a way in at Stadium, but isn't quite given it by Paul. And Jordan Salter again doing well that last lap, reading the situation nicely to get himself up into 4th place. Good battles going on throughout the field, but those were all the changes on the last lap, and that was a very late decision from Oliver Moss to go the other side of the tyres.
That was close.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that one's going to be judged in a way, as Lewis Ridd prizes open the door. That's how it's done at Complex Nouvelle, but he might go a bit too deep. Paul Williams is going to try and come back. Will he be given the racing room? Yes, he is. But Jordan Salter's looking for the opportunity. Is he going to be able to get the switchback out of the final corner? Here they go then, onto the start, finish straight. And yeah, Jordan Salter has got his nose ahead. There's a little bit of contact, and Oliver Moss there down the inside of Richard Newton as well. That's over 5th place. And there's going to be contact as well between himself as Jordan Salter is all tightens up towards the end of that first corner, but they have all kept it going, and it is Jordan Salter, Oliver Moss and Richard Newton, your order there, as Lenny Wood is, I'm delighted to say, having a slightly quieter one of this one, and has got himself up into 8th place and trying to chase this pack of drivers down.
Oliver Moss enjoying himself in that big battle here with a huge number of karts now being involved. Someone slipping wide there. We'll find out who that was. I think it might have been Nichols, or it might have been someone slightly further back. But speaking of Nichols, he has managed to get a co-penalty, so that will be one drop position for him as he goes wide and loses a few more on track. But look at this, a bit of argy-bargy into the first corner. That's Oliver Moss following these two. That's Williams and Salter ahead. Two of the Class 2 drivers being followed by Moss, who is obviously Class 1 with a yellow plate. He's going to look to make the most of that. Deep one from 42. He's now alongside 65 as well. Trying to make it both happen, but not quite. Is able to stick with one for that one, and is now going to follow, I believe it is Williams ahead. It is indeed, into this final section of the track.
Yeah, great battle for third this, and Paul Williams positioning his kart nicely, but Oliver Moss is looking for any which way. They're up by Salter, John was describing, and Lenny Wood has been able to come up onto the back of this as well with Richard Newton. Paul Williams going to hang it to the inside to go defensive here, but that might allow Oliver Moss to come back in the latter phase of stadium. No, it does not. Paul Williams, as I say, some experience showing here. He's been driving this for a long time. I seem to recall that he tends to go quite well around Rye House. As is being demonstrated here, he'll have the inside line for the next hairpin and should, if he just parks it on the apex, be able to hold off Oliver Moss's attack. Meanwhile, Richard Newton goes side by side with Jordan Salter, and Lenny Wood in the 11 is looking to capitalise. Got to be slightly careful there, but it manages to get by. Good move from Lenny there. Gets himself by Richard Newton.
Newton with a bit of a send there, but actually managed to lose out from it because he lost so much speed on exit.
Mikey Nichols and Jeremy Deeks doing battle as well in the background, and that's Jeremy Deeks going quite wide in the final corner. He'll want to not do that too often, lest he get the attention of race control.
Speaking of Jeremy Deeks, he's managed to pick up an ABC bump and pass penalty. So that's going to be 4 positions dropped for him at the end of the race, so very frustrating.
Lead battle. Lewis Ridd has closed in the gap to Steve Bosley, and they're going to have a lap and a half of this. And it's come courtesy of the fastest lap of the race from Lewis the last time through at 43.4. So that's how he set this up. Different classes, but points are points. Every position does count. All of these classes scored together. Steve Bosley, himself quite an experienced racer in Club 100 machinery, is going to lead Lewis Ridd onto the final lap. Now, here we go then. Is the opportunity? He is. Oh, and beautifully done. That was actually quite quick. Sorry.
That's all right.
That took me by surprise, as I think it did take Steve Bosley by surprise as well.
It definitely did, yeah, it really did. That move just didn't seem on at all. I thought he was going to wait for a bit later in the lap, but no, he went for it there. Looking into hairpin 2, I thought that Bosley might be searching for one back up the inside there, but no, he did the right thing and stayed behind. I think it should stay relatively similar as they go through Pylon, Complex Nouvelle. As you can see behind, slightly in the camera shot, these guys are so far ahead, but Moss has managed to make it up into third and get a cheeky little gap. But they're going to come through to finish this race. Heat number 11, and a fantastic move on the final lap allows for Ridd to take that win with Bosley just behind. Then, as we said, Moss in third, with Salter coming home in fourth, then Williams in fifth, Newton in sixth, then Nichols in seventh, then Wood in eighth, Hollinshead in ninth, Phillips in 10th, Patel in 11th, and Bodmer in 12th. But we're going through these thick and fast, and we're on to, I believe, the final heat of your heavyweights today. So let's get involved with that.
Here's your grid then for the final heat of the day, of the weekend. Kieran Chigsey will lead George Hatto on row 1 with Bradley Parrott and Dave Pethers on row 2. Row 3 will be James Taylor and Lee Henderson. There'll be Jonathan Elliott and Bill Taylor on 4. And row 5 to round out the top 10, Jason Bear and Steve Lindley. Lee Whitney and Joe Holmes make up row number 6. Row 7 will be Elliott Taylor and Lucas Ticini Antonello. Lawrence Cheer and Matt Batter on row 8, and row 9 is going to be Leon Dupreez and Joel Arguelles. Here we go then, ready for our final heat of the day. After this it will be all about the big points in the finals, but here we go. Kieran Chigsey leads them away in that 107, heading towards Stadium Corner. It's going to be 2 super heavyweights, 3 super heavyweights on the inside actually, through Stadium Corner. Will they be able to muscle their way through? There's Lee Henderson trying to do just that, but it is Bradley Parrott who's got himself into second place, and it looks to me they're all clinging through hairpin 1. George Hatto has been able to cling on to third place. Steve Lindley there goes side by side with Lee Henderson, and Bill Taylor as well is getting involved in the 144. Joe Holmes showing his experience, I think, just sitting pretty and waiting for the opportunities to present themselves as Lee Henderson goes out a little wide through Complex Nouvelle, and that's going to allow Joe Holmes through. We'll probably see him dive through the inside of that. There you are, the one is now ahead of the 13 as we come round to finish this first lap of the final heat of the day. Kieran Chigsey in the lead. Bradley Parrott, though, within a tenth of a second, wasn't able to make a move into stadium, but here they are, two super heavyweight drivers. Chigsey going defensive already here. I've got to say, there's not been too much. These heavyweight drivers, it's not like they don't know how to... Oh, and there, he's basically knocked into the move from behind there. I think that was yeah, I can understand the frustration there. George Hatto there basically loaded Bradley Parrott and forced him to go for the move there, and there is the cone penalty for Kieran Chigsey as well. But I'm wondering how race control is going to judge that one, because for me, that was a... Let's put it diplomatically, better than that was questionable, the manner in which Hatto took the lead of that one, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah,
that was kind of bump and double pass for that one.
Yeah.
So we'll see, and Bradley Parrott has got a penalty for that one.
ABC bump and pass. I have huge respect for race control. That's not the call I'd have made, but I'm not the one. I haven't got it anywhere near as much as the experience of those making those decisions. And Bradley Parrott is going to... sorry, what was that?
There was someone round at the hairpin. They've dropped to second last, so we'll check who that was previously.
So yeah, I think that's questionable. Either way, Bradley Parrott has got back into the lead now, although he does have that penalty. And Steve Lindley, oh dear, for the news of everyone, Steve Lindley is in third and is looking to defend here. And we saw what a good job he did of that earlier on in the day. Out of the final corner they come then. It's Bradley Parrott in the lead, but with the penalty for bump and pass, George Hatto is in second, Steve Lindley in third. And actually, you know what? Lindley isn't defending, he's attacking right now.
Right, it was Luca Staccini and Zanello who spun at the hairpin. I was getting very confused. I was like, it definitely says number 4, but there is no number 4. His 9 ahead of his 4 has come off.
Yeah, he's lost half his number plate, yes. Here's Joe Holmes anyway, sending one down the inside of Bill Taylor. Nicely opened the door there into Complex Nouvelle and got the job done. Bradley Parrott then leads them on to a new lap. And Steve Lindley here in third place, defending against Jonathan Elliott, who himself, you may recall, did a brilliant defensive job against Joe Holmes earlier in the day. So we've got two drivers who we have highlighted for their defensive driving today. And here we're going to see how they do on attacking, because here they are attacking George Hatto now. What are they going to do with the space here? Steve Lindley is going to come out the best on the back straight here.
Two guys running 11th and 12th. Whitney and Cheer have both got a bump and pass penalty, so that's going to be +4 positions for both of them. Very frustrating, especially with such a small grid. +4 is a huge number of positions, nearly a quarter of the field, so big one there. But we've got 31 sending one of the inside of number 47. That's Elliott on Lindley, and he makes it through, makes it stick in that interesting Monster energy suit. The Monster not powering, but it is now into hairpin 1. He re-sends it back on the inside. I don't think he's quite going to have the speed to hold on to it. He doesn't. He's going to have to stick behind Elliott for now anyway. Get a bit more Monster in your lad, then he can go for it.
Other energy drinks are available.
Like Rich Energy, the best energy drink.
Let's not go there. I just want to give a shout out to all the people who are coming in with comments, because I haven't caught up on them for a little while. Hi to Joy Hell. Thank you very much. Glad you're enjoying the coverage. I'm getting Shay Hale ready for the match tonight, presumably for Matt Hale to get back to and enjoy that. So brilliant stuff, and I reckon you're not alone in perhaps having this on and enjoying the action whilst preparations are made for a certain do and event happening this evening. So brilliant stuff. Do hope you're enjoying this coverage coming to you from Rye House, as we see Jonathan Elliott going side by side with George Hatto for second place, but Hatto is surely going to be able to retain that. Indeed he does, just hold on to his line, hold his line even, going through the pylon section. There is Bradley Parrott, leads the race, but has been given that bump and pass penalty. I should say, I mean, I'm saying, oh, it's not the call line. As down the inside there goes Elliott on Hatto, and that time it is going to stick. Nicely done there, prized open the door. To be fair, I don't even know that it's for that instant that Parrott was given that penalty. So, you know, I always defer and respect the decisions coming down from race control, as Joe Holmes is going to get by Steve Lindley.
Well, whatever way, Hato's gotten off very nicely there, not getting a penalty for that move, because from our angle, it was an interesting one. But anyway, we'll leave it in the past.
I was going to say, I'd have to see it again, to be honest, at this stage. We don't know, for example, we couldn't see in the shot whether Hato himself was getting some kind of loading as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So it could have been a right concertina going on there. So Bradley Parrott does lead, but has the penalty, so your net leader is Jonathan Elliott, and that does mean that the pass that we saw from Jonathan Elliott on George Hatto on that last lap was for the net lead of the race. Does also mean that Joe Holmes comes into the picture for winning this one if he can just do a few more moves on the closing laps of the race. Now. Absolutely.
Gets an overshoot, but no, gets balked slightly, clips the back of Hatto ahead of him, and Lindley now right up his bump. He's going to go for the move anyway. That was interesting, we'll say is the word. It doesn't quite make it stick that time around. It's going to have to think of a bit of a better way to do that now as we go on to the final lap of today's race.
Indeed, Bradley Parrott in the lead then. Jonathan Elliott is pushing like crazy, sets the fastest lap of the race. He may not know that he doesn't actually need to do that. He's on for the win net once penalties have been applied. What matters now is who finishes net second on the road, and that's between these three gentlemen here as Joe Holmes does the switch Mansell-esque into the hairpin and makes it stick, and that's three wide heading onto there. Does Steve Lindley have room? Yes, he does. They both get back past Joe Holmes as well. Oh, that's brilliant stuff between these guys. The 144 of Bill Taylor trying to get involved as well. Needs to be careful though, because Steve Lindley's going to try and resume his line as we're on the last lap. Bradley Parrott is coming around the last corner now, I can tell you. Here he comes. He's not going to be your net winner though. The win is going to go the way of Jonathan Elliott in second place on the road, but first one penalties apply, and it is George Hatto who hands on. Joe Holmes, I think, is a bit, he's like, what happened there? Steve Lindley, Lee Whitney, though, does have a penalty to be applied as well. Bill Taylor, Jason Bear, Kieran Chigsey, Lee Henderson there as well. Elliot Taylor, Lawrence Cheer, Dave Pellers, Luca Sticchini Antonello, Matthew Batter, and Leon Dupreez. Joel Arguelles rounds that out. That's it for your heat races. Coming up next, though, the all-important trophy final, ahead of a certain other all-important thing, which I'm sure we'll acknowledge. But, yeah, finals coming up for you here next at Rye House.
Welcome to Alpha Live, the live streaming service where you can be part of the action from home. You can watch via your smart TV, phone, tablet, or even your gaming console. We've got you covered. Just head to the YouTube app on any of your devices and search for Alpha Live. Here you can watch all of the events as they unfold, or you could choose from our vast library for those lazy days in, all in beautiful HD. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos.
So we're just getting ready to go into the C finals here at Rye House. Going to, or the C final, I should say, for the heavyweights here at Rye House. And that's where the big points are going to be on offer in the championships. Just to give some context, it's 20 points for a round win. And, let's try again. 20 points for a heat win and 120 points. 130 points available for a round win in the A final. And, well, it's been a long weekend. There we go. Let's try that again. So there we go. So, yes, more than quadruple the amount of points available for the person who wins that all-important A final. So this is where the big points are scored in the championship. C final, though, it's not about getting those 130 points, because that's for the win of your A final. It's all about how many points can you score, and can you get into the top 4. The top 4 of the C final will be promoted onto the back of the grid of the B final, and likewise in the B final, the top 2 of that will be put onto the back of the A final grid. This is to give everyone an option. I mean, we've seen some frenetic racing in our heats this morning. There may be some drivers who feel that on balance they're out of position. This is the ability to have some redemption on that front. You can get yourself up into those promotion spots, get yourself through, so there is still a means to get you through. We've seen once or twice over the last few years, it has happened, folks, where we've seen a driver get promoted from C into B and B into A. We've seen that happen. I don't know of any candidates for that this time around. That usually happens when it usually happens when like a Class 1 driver getting an exclusion or some such. But we're still just waiting on a grid up here. I can tell you, though, that we're somewhat in the dark because there's definitely a group of drivers lined up on the dummy grid in the pit lane, so they know the grid. And to be fair, they are the essential ones to know it because they're about to race. But, yeah, we are getting ready for the C final. I should say as well, for reasons that are probably obvious to everyone watching, there probably is going to be quite a will to wrap this one up quite quickly towards the end of the day, at the end of the A final. So we will be probably looking for a quick finish there, but as a result, I do just want to sort of begin it now. Even though we've got so much action to do, just want to begin that sort of wrap up now and just say thank you very much to you all for supporting the stream today. Thank you for all the lovely comments we've been having coming in. Apologies to those of you who were watching the lightweights this morning when we had a few technical difficulties. We will upload all of the content in the middle of this coming week, so you can go back and enjoy that. And don't forget, it's all there for you on the Alpha Live YouTube channel. Shout out as well to come to our own little humble Double Dash Motorsport Media channel on Wednesday night, where Andrew Mather and myself will be bringing you coverage of the Legends of Club 100 and the UKC iRacing Championship. And do you know what? We didn't get a chance to acknowledge it earlier on, but Mr. John Ratcliffe, you yourself have your Moto Meerkat channel where people can check you out.
Indeed, yeah, make a couple of videos on occasion, have a little podcast where I get some racing drivers on as well, have a little bit of a chat. I've had a chat with Teo Porcher, who races in Formula 2, Matt Neal, who's in BTCC, Alexander Rossi, who of course races in IndyCar. So yeah, all stuff over there, so make sure you check out Moto Meerkat on YouTube. But we're almost on the way for the C final. We still don't actually know the grid.
We don't know the grid. We're going to work it out as we go along.
We're just going
here.
to go for it.
We'll definitely work it out. Let's see if we can get, I think it's Richard Masterson on pole in the 29. Yes, it is. There we go. Richard Masterson on pole. Andrew Hicks alongside in the 149. The top 4 places go through. I'm happy to say that it's still staying nice and sunny here at Rye House. Away we go with our C final. 12 minutes on the clock, and they all pile in, and there's all drama there for the number 94 of Lucas Ticino. Anzanello manages to keep it together, but you saw him riding up just there and losing his steering, which into stadium is one thing you do not want, but his fellow karters essentially steered him round, and there is someone else getting turned around. Sadly, there at the hairpin, we'll call that as they come through at the end of this lap. There is the 149 of Andrew Hicks defending on the back straight at the moment, but it looks to me like Richard Masterson has got away at the front in this one, as they're all working their way through the final sector of the lap now.
I just find it quite funny when you see one driver sticking his hand up in the air. What were you doing? The guy turns on and goes, what do you mean? It was your fault.
It is rather the classic, isn't it? Richard Masterson, excuse me, leads. Lawrence Cheer has got himself into second. Andrew Hicks in third. The spinner, I'm afraid to report, was, it's Marcus Narris and Adam Hyland who have been involved in that and now at the back of the pack. So, Richard Masterson leads, Lawrence Cheer in second, Andrew Hicks in third, Sam Bensley in fourth. And here they are onto the back straight. Now then, I am wondering if out there, I think we did see him briefly, running in the number 15 car, one of our Class 3 runners. We haven't spoken so much in this heavyweights broadcast as we did this morning in the lightweights about the British Indoor Karting Championship, but they did, they have had support from, in fact there, in the 15 car, there is Joe Idle. Well picked up there by the folks on cameras. He is, as of quite recently, the newly crowned super heavyweight champion in the British Indoor Karting Championships, the significance of which is that has had support from Club 100. Announced about a year ago now that Club 100 was supporting that, and just want to highlight here that all of the champions in the adult categories that Club 100 supported, of which there are 4, a featherweight, a lightweight, a heavyweight and a super heavyweight, the prize for Club 1 for those classes in the BIKC, which was run through Team Sport Karting, a name many of you will have heard of in indoor karting. They've got 35 tracks around the UK, so if you've been indoor karting with any level of regularity, chances are you've been to one of their circuits. So Team Sport running that British Indoors Karting Championship with Club 100 support to provide that stepping stone for drivers within Arrive and Drive Karting to make that step from indoor to outdoor karting, and that came in the form of the prize for those classes, winning the championship of those classes, being 8 round entries in the Club 100 Sprint Championship. 8 being significant because if you do 8 out of 11 rounds, that's the minimum you need for a fully valid championship score, because there's 3 drop rounds from the 11, which would take you down to 8. So it's a really big prize. It's an entire season, effectively, certainly an entire season challenge, season campaign, if you like, offered by Club 100. And this is Joel Arguelles, your super heavyweight champion from Bedford, age 26, and he's switched from super heavyweight to Class 3 for this round, and that's to give himself more experience. And I think that's quite a smart move, because the significance of that, if you're wondering, is that I mentioned earlier how Class 3 have the random grids, but towards the back of the grid within the heats, and I think that's allowing him to get more experience there in the number 15. Finished 16th in the C final in his first round, which was at Butmore, so that was the first one of his prize, and this is his second round. Do hope he's enjoying the opportunity and enjoying the prize that he's earned by being your champion in the super heavyweights for the British Indoor Karting Championship. Good luck to him, and I think it's really good to see Club 100 making these partnerships, and there's been so much momentum with Club 100, you know, their attachment that's come about with Motorsport UK and ADKC and all those things that have happened over the last few years, and this is another big piece in the puzzle for me, that they're providing a ladder to work up, and through things like the Young Drivers Championship as well, providing a ladder to work up through Arrive and Drive Karting.
Definitely, yeah, and he's doing well out there, currently in 17th, so fair play to him, and I wish him all the best of luck, not only for this race, but for the rest of the season. Now, I've been watching the battle of the top 3 out the window. Yep. Number 29, Masterson, has been putting in some pretty solid pace. He had, the other 2 behind had closed up, but he's now pulled out a slight gap again. The battle between second and third is beginning to hot up. Now, who we move the camera to here before I can pick out a number? It is the 132, was that? Well, it can't possibly be, because there isn't a 132. It must have been the 133 of Chia? How do we pronounce that, sir?
Lawrence Chia.
Chia, we're going to go with Chia. He is in second position. The battle I was talking about. The man behind him, Hicks, just from watching over the past couple of laps while you were chatting about the BIKC, Hicks does seem to have the most pace out of these 3 at the front, just from my own eyes. However, he hasn't quite been able to make the move stick. I saw him go for one into pylon a couple of laps ago and got it all out of shape. I thought he was going in the barrier at one stage, but he managed to keep it together and keep his 3rd position. So this could prove very interesting. We've got 2nd, 3rd and 4th right on each other now, so keep watching this, as with 6 minutes left, there's certainly all to play for.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well done. Good job keeping eyes on the battle here, mate, because it is significant, obviously. top 4 going through into that B final. And at the moment, as you say, there's actually quite a nice gap for these top 4. There is Lawrence Cheer, and there in the black suit with the orange details is Andrew Hicks. Jeremy Deeks just on his tail. And this is the key thing about how you work together tactically within these finals. We spoke about it with the lightweights. We speak about it every time we have this format on our Club 100 streams. You've got to think tactically. There's no point going for a crazy move if you're in 4th place on 3rd. If it results in tears, your day ends there. If you get the promotion, you get to be on for bigger points yet still in that B final, or if you're being promoted from the B final, in that A final. And by the way, the thing we also know, you do get like another race of karting for free. You don't get, you know, a new invoice come through. You get more karting for your money. Here we go though. Here is Hicks on Cheer into stadium section. He is going for it. Feels he has the pace, and also going through his Deeks, and Deeks is going to get them both. Is he? This is really okay. This is not working together as such. If you're Elliot Taylor, you must be. This is Christmas for Elliot Taylor at the moment, because he's seeing this battling up ahead. Do not take each other out, guys. Jeremy Deeks is going to go deep into that one. Andrew Hicks is going to try and get the advantage side by side, and sure enough, now, look, there we go. That's the change for 4th place. Elliot Taylor has got past Lawrence Cheer there, and he's now up into that. And there's the penalty for Jeremy Deeks for forcing a driver wide. That is going to be the end of Deeks' efforts, I think, to take the lead, because I think he has to win it to still get through on that. And Masterson is some 4 seconds up the road. That, I'm not going to lie, I know some of these drivers, Class 3 drivers, are sort of learning their craft, as it were, at Club 100. That's not how you do it. That's not how you do it, because what it does, I mean, okay, technically Andrew Hicks has come out okay out of that one. No penalties, not if that happens though, and that's Hicks getting very leery there, and that's going to allow Lawrence Cheer back into the fray. We're going to work this one all out towards at the end of this lap, to be honest with you, because it's all just got a little bit confusing for who actually is on for going through here. I think forcing the driver wide, oh well, actually sorry, it's bump and pass, as well as forcing a driver wide now being shown for Jeremy Deeks, so he has at least 4 positions, if not more, to be docked at the end of this race. So Jeremy Deeks in second on the road is not going to be your promotee. Elliot Taylor, I think, is fine in 3rd. Lawrence Cheer in 4th, and Andrew Hicks are still your drivers on for promotion. But all of this battling has allowed Lucas Ticini Anzanello to get onto this as well. He's in the 94, but as John observed earlier, the 9 has come off his number board, so you're effectively looking out for the 4 there in the white helmet and the white and black suit. But yeah, it's this kind of tactical thinking that the drivers have got to get on with, got to get their heads screwed on with. I think, John, it can be so easily thrown away with a careless move. Yeah,
I was going to say, obviously, speaking from our high horse up in the comms box, but yeah, I think just with more experience, as you guys get out on track more, it's the main thing of learning when to give up a move, when to realise, okay, I need to not go for this, I need to pull out of this one. Because, yeah, we've had a couple of incidents where drivers have just kind of kept in there, been a bit too argy-bargy, and of course some incidents, but there we are. And that's Mr. Anzanello trying to go up the inside, giving a hand gesture, but not really sure what for. He sent up the inside there. The guy took the racing line and retook the position.
Yeah, Anzanello is the one knocking on the door of that final promotion spot, even if he doesn't quite realise it at the moment.
And he has actually got a contact warning already, so he needs to watch out for that. He might get another. He's just got a curb warning as well. He needs to watch out because he's on the cusp for that promotion.
They need to channel. They need to channel their inner. I think. Okay, I might be butchering this, but I think it's a Sun Tzu thing, isn't it? That a good general knows not only the battles to win, but also the ones they'll lose, and thus don't pick a fight. Yes. I think it's all about that. And that's a very good point, actually, even if I made it terribly. But you made the point well, John, that you want to pick your fights carefully.
Exactly.
Because there's nothing to be gained if you're going to throw it all away. I have to say, there's a brilliant train of karts. Really, there's a spinner there at the heavy. I think, yeah, it's Marcus Narris having more dramas. I'm afraid he's now got underway again. But there's quite a train of karts from 12th place downwards. Matt Griffiths, Blake Templey, Chris Wharton, all of these drivers. There's a lot of, I should say this, haven't acknowledged this yet today, there's a huge number of Class 3 drivers here today in the heavyweights. It's great to see so many new drivers taking up Club 100. So thank you very much for coming along and giving this a try. I hope you're enjoying your first seasons in the series.
I was going to say this. Practically, this entire grid is novices, isn't it? There's maybe 3 or 4 drivers.
Yeah, I mean, one driver my heart does go out to, I think, is Vinod Hirani, because as far as I am aware, he's had a few incidents and accidents that weren't all of his fault through the heats, and he's in the midst of this, struggling to make progress. But yeah, your 2 Class 2 runners, I mean, this is why Jeremy Deeks, he's thrown it away now. He's one of our Class 2 runners. He's not going to make the cut because of penalties, as there's a penalty for bumper pass from Matt Griffiths as well. That's part of that fight I was talking about from 12th place down. You just saw Richard Masterson, your leader, go through. There is Jeremy Deeks, but he's got penalties to be applied. So then comes Elliot Taylor, Lawrence Cheer, and Andrew Hicks, who at the moment we believe are your promotees onto the back of your B final grid. Here is the battle that I was talking about, by the way, further down. There is Vinod Hirani, super heavyweight driver, as denoted by his green number plate, trying to find a way through on Martin Robinson. This time round is going to be called as the last lap, I think, as I can see out the window there is another spin from that battle, who's just got underway again from the hairpin 1. Richard Masterson, though, he's done everything he needs to do, has the fastest lap of the race as well as a 43.6.
I was going to say, massive shout out to him. He's got 5-second leaders. There we are. Big Sen, was that the
cheer on Taylor?
Yeah,
I think.
Big Sen. He managed to make it stick. I thought it was going round there for a second. He had that proper sideways, but managed to just about keep it together.
But this is big. This is Anzanello effectively racing for what we believe will be the last of the promotion spots. And Sam Bensley as well is right on the scene as well. So here he goes. Bensley is going to go for the move. It's not going to be enough to get him a promotion spot, but it is going to throw Hicks a lifeline, I think, as well. Richard Masterson takes the win. Jeremy Deeks comes second, but has penalties to be applied. So we believe it's going to be Lawrence Cheer, Elliot Taylor, and Andrew Hicks, who just makes it through into the B final. What was the gap there? That was close. It was 1/10 of a second between himself and Anzanello. So Anzanello, Samuel Bensley, Matthew Batter, Jack Bebbington, and Leon Dupreez to round out your top 10. There was your C final. We think it's Masterson, Cheer, Taylor, and Andrew Hicks through to that B final, which we will be right back with you with here at Rye House in just a moment's time. Let's take you through the grid then for the B final here. It's going to be Richard Lavender on pole position for you, with Jason Bear alongside Richard Newton and Kevin Coombs on row 2, Alexander Lamin and Tom Fuller on row 3. On row 4, it's going to be Lee Henderson and Mike Bodner, Lee Whitney and Paul Williams to round out your top 10, Rory Seven and Tim Williams on row 6. Row 7 will be Wayne Dunham and Harry Melvin, with Carolis Conchicas and Dave Pethers on row 8. Row 9 is going to be Daniel Hollinshead and Lenny Wood. Luke Phillips and Jaden Cadigan will make up row number 10 to round out the top 20. Barry Letchford and Vijay Patel are your 11th row, and then it is going to be from our C final the confirmed results, which we're still waiting on. Hang on, I think they're being double checked. They're weighing them. They're double checking those who are promotees to make sure that there was nothing untoward happening with weight limits there. So we just wait for confirmation on that one. But that's how they're going to line up down to 22nd spot. And we'll add 4 more drivers from the C final to take us up to the 26 kart grids, which you'll note much larger grids in these finals than from the heats, which is why it's so important for them to all give each other racing room at the start of the race. Do any of the drivers go through to the main final? It's asked by Mackenzie Taylor. Yes, they do. So in this B final, we're going to be looking for the top 2 are going to be put onto the back of the A final grid. So that's going to be the key one to look out for with this. So that will be the key aspect here. Whilst we're just waiting for this to be confirmed, or actually has it been confirmed? It has now been confirmed. So it's going to be Richard Masterson and Elliot Taylor on row 12, and Lawrence Cheer and Andrew Hicks indeed on row 13. So it is as we called it in that C final. Congratulations to them. They get an opportunity to go again. Just whilst we're waiting for the B final to go out there, then let's talk a little bit about the rest of this calendar. Again, just want to cover some of the housekeeping that we usually do, perhaps with a view to some of the crew wanting to go home fairly promptly on this one once we've covered our A final. So let's do a bit of that housekeeping now. Obviously, Rye House this weekend, I think it's been a thoroughly entertaining weekend, thanks to everybody who's taken part, not just on the Sunday, but on the Saturday as well. Great stuff in the Endurances and the Sprint 60s yesterday. And if you do want more info about those championships, head over to Club 100's website for those details, club100.co.uk. Ella Park is next on the weekend of the 31st of July and the 1st of August, the sprints being the latter of those 2 days. And then at Bayford Meadows on the weekend of the 11th and 12th of September. On that 12th of September, we are going to be back with your Alpha live stream with Double Dash Motorsport Media commentary for that round. So that is another streamed round there on the 12th of September. So that's when next to bookmark if you are enjoying these streams. Make it easier for yourself though. Subscribe and hit a notification bell on the Alpha Live YouTube channel, and then you don't have to worry about it. Although, to be fair, these are quite long broadcasts. You might want to map some time out. To be fair, you probably don't have a notification bell go off and go, oh, I think I'll watch for 6 hours. Granted, but it will keep you up to date. You'll get all that stuff. Also, Alpha Live, follow them on Facebook. They tend to put out really nice summaries of all the events that they're doing over the coming month. So that's one to bear in mind as well. Landau then is on the 18th and 19th of September, and Whilton Mill on the 9th and 10th of October. That one again is a streamed round. So for the next 2 streamed rounds, you want the 12th of September for Bayford Meadows, and the 10th of October for Whilton Mill. Those are the next 2 streamed rounds for you there. For all details of the calendars for all of the various championships that Club 100 run, club100.co.uk, including the Young Drivers Championship if you're a younger driver, but drivers of any age, really from 14 up, there is something for you here in Club 100. Here, though, we're good for an away on the B final. Richard Lavender on your left, driver's right. Jason Bear in the number 25 to the right of your shot. The top 2 go through to the A final. The rest are all fighting for points. Let's go. It's a great start from the right side of the grid. Richard Newton's going to be immediately up into second place as they stream through the stadium corner for the first time. Lee Henderson is in the middle of a 3-wide sandwich coming through Reg's elbow. Are they all going to keep it together? 3 wide, even 4 wide. There's leaning on each other in the braking. Are they all going to get round facing the right way? Somehow they do, but I'm wondering if that's by luck or by design, to be perfectly honest with you. But nevertheless, here they go. Wayne Dunham fighting away there in the 66. There's a little bit of Rory 7, I think, is not too happy with the conduct of some of the drivers out there. 2 wide, 3 wide into pile, and Wayne Dunham is round. Wayne Dunham is round, and that's more disappointment for him. Not the first time he's been involved, I think, in a first lap incident today. That's not to attribute blame. It's just been an unfortunate day for him. I think, as they all stream through at the end of this first lap. It is still Richard Lavender who leads. Alexander Lamin has got himself up into the second place spot.
Wayne Dunham was honestly quite lucky to not get collected there.
True.
Heart in the mouth. I thought he was going to get absolutely sideswiped, but turned out to be okay, and no big incidents just yet in this race. But there are a few sends going down into the first hairpin, and we've got a spinner. I believe that was 127, was it? Holland's Head? I thought it was 126.
I thought it was 126.
It was Vijay Patel, of course.
So yeah, he's back underway again now. But yeah, just out of our window there, not caught on the cameras, there was an incident as Lenny Wood there in the 11 on the tail of Mike Bodner. And as I say, Lenny, I feel, is a driver who maybe on his pace would expect to be high, because he was involved in a few incidents earlier on. 3 wide into Stadium now, including the 63 of Kevin Coombs with Rory 7 in that number 19.
It's a great move from Kevin there, sending on the inside of 2 people. Lovely stuff. Yeah,
and Tim Williams as well getting involved here with the sort of spiderweb design on the helmet with the blue. Rory 7 there getting very close to the barriers in his battle with Richard Newton, and that's allowed Tom Fuller to get involved as well. David Pethers as well, that sort of sunglow ombre helmet and the Union flag on top, trying to get involved now in the 92. At the front though, it's still Richard Lavender who leads this one. Alexander Lamin in second place, and it has closed up slightly between those two. They would do well, as we've discussed, they would do well to work together here if at all possible.
I mean, we've said that in every race, and I don't think they've ever actually done it, have they? Well, earlier this morning they were doing it a lot, but heavyweights I've not seen too many people working together.
Has been a bit more gloves off in the heavyweights, I will concede. Barry Letchford just moving up the order a little bit as well as our only Class 1 runner in the field. but he's not as far. Bear in mind, your timing tower only shows you the top 20, and this is one of those races today where we've actually got 26 runners, so just bear that in mind. Should say as well, I mentioned how many novice Class 3 drivers we had today, and that means that who wins it, I think, can go around quite proud. At the moment, the highest place of those is Carlos Conchicas in that 12th place. He's several positions ahead of Luke Phillips, who's the next highest Class 3 in the order. As we're looking here at the front of the field, because there's pressure. There is Kevin Coombs trying to put a move on Lee Whitney, but can't make it stick in hairpin 1. And there's your race leader, Richard Lavender. Alexander Lamin in the 36, and then Jason Bear in the 25. Man on the mission, because he'll know that it's the top 2 that get through to the A final, and he's within touching distance of them at the moment.
I've definitely seen what you mean about the hairpins today, though, about how usually at hairpins you'll see people dive it up the inside, whereas here, if people have done that, I think we've seen more crashes than genuine good passes up the inside. It's definitely out the outside, out of hairpin 2, that is the better bet.
Absolutely, and I think that's the way. I mean, hairpin 2, we've spoken out throughout the weekend about as there's a cone penalty for Richard Lavender, and that's costly, so our race leader has a cone penalty. Now, that means he's still at the moment on for the promotion.
But he's got a lot more to worry about.
He's got a lot more to worry about because he's in a net second. So that's going to be costly. If anyone overtakes him, he'll finish a net third and not be promoted. So that's big there. So there's 2 ways that Jason Bear can get through now. Either he can pass Lamin, or Lamin can pass Lavender and gift it to Jason Bear that way. So, yeah, very interesting. Yeah, but you're absolutely right, mate, about the hairpins. We've spoken a lot about how hairpin 2 opens up on entrance, but actually, when you think about it, hairpin 1 kind of does the same as well, because its tightest pinch point is in the early part of the apex in hairpin 1, and whilst there's a lot more sort of track furniture, curbing, and those tyres that you can choose to go the other side of and avoidance, all that, it still technically widens out on exit there, so it's all about the switchback through these hairpins, as there's a nice battle going on there. Dave Pethers trying to get past Tom Fuller, and he's going to get the job done there, I think, as he slots in behind Richard Newton. As
it also popped on our screen, Lee Henderson in 4th has also got a cone penalty now. It's going to be much harder for him to get those top 2 positions to move up into the A final. Good
point. And actually, that's, Lee Henderson, now you can see he's gesturing at the penalty there. Clearly doesn't know exactly what it's for, as far as I could read his emotions there, his body language. Cone penalty can be an interesting one. Always important to remember, they tell you this in your very first briefing, if you go indoor karting or anything, the rear of the kart is wider than the front, and so it can be easy to just tag a cone, as there's Kevin Coombs down the inside of Lee Whitney, and Tim Williams is going to follow through as well, and that comes partially courtesy of Tim Williams just setting the fastest lap on the last lap, but you've got to give him racing room still on the inside of pylon, and that was another heart in the mouth moment there, and he's going to put Lee on the grass as well, and it's about having it takes 2 to tango, right? You've got to be aware of where your other driver's going to be if you've only just passed them, but also as the other driver, you have to give up at the right time, and those 2 things have not been, for me, in abundance in quite the way that I felt they were in the lightweights this morning. I'm still thoroughly entertained by our heavyweight drivers today. Make no mistake about it, as Richard Newton goes defensive now on Lee Whitney, but Whitney's failed attempt is going to be Dave Pethers' opportunity here. He's going to go for the switchback. And can he tuck under? Yes, he can. He's got the overspeed. If he's got enough, though, they're going to have to, and this is it, give each other room going side by side, and Pethers makes the judgment. I think that was fair. Pethers made that judgment and went, OK, not on here, and that's fine. That's how it's done in many ways. Now, in an alternative reality, he just had his nose a millimetre further forward and was able to stamp his authority, but that's fine. But yeah, it is a dogfight circuit, make no mistake about it. You get that kind of rough and tumble Rye House to a degree. But yeah, I think there's room for improvement in some quarters of the heavyweight field today, and I think that's a fair assessment if one compares it to what we saw this morning. At the front, though, impressed with the showing so far of these 3 in this race. Richard Lavender, though, with that cone penalty, I wonder, do you know what? I think it's most often around here, the section they just went through, as you go through the S's, you want to open out the last corner as much as possible. There are 3 cones on the apex of the S's, and it's so easy just to tag certainly the last one with the rear of your kart just as you open it up, and that will count as the penalty. That's just a guess, but I'd say that's the easiest place around here to knock a cone.
Yeah, and I was just going to mention that our only Class 1 runner in this race, Barry Letchford, his day has gone from bad to worse, getting a cone penalty, so that's going to be 1 place dropped at the end of the race.
It is that. It is that. So,
It is
Ryan, it is that. Richard Lavender still leading, still at the moment on for the promotion
He's
spot.
still doing a very good job, even though he will have seen that he's got a 1 place penalty.
He will. Well, he'll have seen that he's got a penalty. Whether he knows what it's for is a different matter, because all he'll have seen is his cart number and pen.
Yes.
So, if he's been aware of it, oh, apparently we've been to. Oh, I'm talking old-fashioned there. Apparently it says cones on the board now. Do you know what? I'm gonna put a little angel halo around my head. That shows how recently I haven't had a cone penalty.
Aww.
And so he will know it's 1 place then. But what's interesting to me here, John, it's closing up. Lamin and Bear, they haven't been fighting, and it's all closing out here. Closing up here, I should say, with plenty of time left on the clock for things to change.
As we've been saying, Lavender has a lot to worry about, especially with 2 of them behind him. He could really get final backwards here. If he just drops 1 position, that's it, gone. So he's going to need to be quite forceful, as we've now determined. He does know there was a cone penalty, so he does know it's 1 position. So I would assume he's going to be pretty heavy. However,
cone penalty for Jason
Bear. That's going to be 1 position lost for him. So actually now, if Lavender does get overtaken by Lamin, he isn't going to go behind Bear. Is Henderson then going to? I don't know how that works.
I've got to shift a few more beads on the abacus over here. Tim Williams here battling away with Kevin Coombs, and is going to get that move done for 5th. So that was a nice tidy move here. Here we go though. The top 3 battling away. The one thing we can say quite confidently is that Alexander's getting through no matter what happens now. I'm not sure if he's aware, but just don't hit anybody or anything and you're through, so long as you keep the pace good enough that Lee Henderson can't catch up. And actually, I thought Henderson had a penalty earlier on as well.
He did have a cone penalty earlier on.
Alex,
so
just
third
hold station, Mr. Lamin, you're fine. But at the moment, it is Lavender and Lamin going through. 2 minutes, though, left on the clock, as I can just see out the window that there's been some incident at hairpin 1. Here is the battle, though, over 4th place. Tim Williams versus Kevin Coombs is going to get nice and tight here, and Lee Henderson's going to smell the opportunity, reads it well, and that's one of the reasons I think why Lee Henderson currently leads the super heavyweight standings. He's got that good racecraft there. Black flag for Barry Letchford. That's for 2 bump and pass ABC, so I'm afraid that in his attempt to get himself up the order, Barry's just not played it on the right side of how the race stewards see it. Cone penalty as well for Rory 7, currently running in 8th, so that's a best of 9th that he can finish with that, unless he works his way further up the order.
So many cone penalties, we're not going to have a clue who's gone through.
We're
not going to have a clue at the end of this.
I mean, we'll do our best. We'll do our best. Lee Whitney there in the 163 chasing Kevin Coombs, though. This is a good little battle here, and Rory 7 is coming up onto the back of this in the 19, so he could at least negate that one place penalty by taking a position. Here's Tim Williams, Lee Henderson, Kevin Coombs in the red suit, Lee Whitney with the orange helmet and the white suit. We cut back to the lead battle though between Lavender and Lamin. Penalty for Paul Williams now, an ABC takeout, and I wonder if that was, I did see as Barry Letchford pits for his black flag, I did see someone come to a stop in hairpin 1, so I wonder if it's that unusual for Paul Williams. I've got to say, he's quite an experienced driver, usually knows how to go wheel to wheel, but something's gone awry a little bit there for him. It'll be the next lap, it'll be the last lap next time around, I should say, and it's still going to be interesting here, John, to see who gets the final promotion. For me, Jason Bear's a little far back, and bear in mind, Bear has to win it to promote, because he's got that one place penalty. So how's it going to play out here between Lavender and Lamin around this last lap?
It's looking very interesting, but yeah, Lamin surely knows that the man ahead has a penalty, but there we are. He might not. He might not know what people's numbers are, and he might just be racing his own race. Hopefully he doesn't do anything too silly on this, because as we've been saying, as long as he just keeps it where he is right now, he's going to be absolutely fine. But yeah, they're going to come through the final complex as we see a couple more penalties coming through. I'm not sure if that's another repeat for Paul Williams. We saw another one coming through for Wayne Dunham as well, as they're going to come around the final corner of paddock. Lavender with a fantastic race there with one place penalty, but he is going to go through, I do believe. It's Lavender with the win and Lamin behind. I believe they'll be the two who go through to our A final. Then Bear Adair finished in 3rd with Williams in 4th, Henderson in 5th, Coombs in 6th, 7 in 7th, finally 7 in 7th, Whitney in 8th, Heathers in 9th, Newton in 10th, Fuller in 11th, Conchicas in 12th, Melbourne in 13th, Williams in 14th, Phillips in 15th, Masterson in 16th, and that's about all I can read before I run out of time.
I want to say congratulations, therefore, to our Class 3 podium, Calres Conchicas, Luke Phillips and Daniel Hollinshead. So it's Conchicas who takes home the spoils in Class 3 there. And I don't think any super heavyweights have made it through into the A final. I stand to be corrected on that, but I think provisionally at least we say well done to Lee Henderson, who's going to extend his lead, I believe, within the super heavyweight championship scorings by being the highest place there ahead of Richard Newton as well, although do stand by on that. I'm going to double check my A final grids before I declare that. That is what's coming next though for you here though. It'll be the final race of the weekend. The A final in heavyweights coming up next here at Rye House. Right, then let's take you through the grid for this final race of the weekend. Matt Wildman will start this on pole with Joe Holmes alongside Lewis Ridd, and Anwar Burrell-Smith will be on row number 2. Jonathan Elliott and Jordan Salter are on row 3. Row 4 is going to be Miguel Hall and Alex Pritchard. Sean Briley and Steve Lindley are on row 5 to round out your top 10. Oliver Moss and Anthony Ridd are on row 6. And then it's going to be Simon Kavanagh and Richard Allen on row 7, Chris Alcock and Mikey Nichols on 8, and George Hatto and Chris Dixon on row 9. Adam Wright and Bradley Parrott are going to round out your top 20. Steve Bosley and Matthew Hale are on row 11. It is to Kieran Chigsey and Bill Taylor that I say my sincerest apologies, because there are 2 super heavyweights that have definitely got through to the A final. So forget what I said about Lee Henderson. I think he has got himself onto the super heavyweight podium for the round though. So well done on that front. But yes, indeed, Bill Taylor and Kieran Chigsey both in this one. So that's the fight for your super heavyweight win in this round. And we wait for it to be confirmed exactly who. They're just doing the weighing that they did for the previous promotees to check that it is indeed Richard Lavender and Alexander Lavender, who we expect to be confirmed as your promotees there. Folks, for obvious reasons, we're going to be perhaps looking for a slightly prompter wrap up to this one. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. I do just want to say a few thank yous as we're getting ready for this A final. A huge shout out to JV and all of his crew who make this championship possible. I know I've been pushing it throughout the day, but I do it because I do mean a really fun machinery to drive, great championship, great paddock to be involved with. Club100.co.uk. If you're a driver of 14 ages and up, then go and check it out. Give them a call. They'll be happy to talk you all through it. If you have any questions, definitely check it out. Follow them on Facebook is probably the best place to follow Club 100. That's perhaps the platform on which they're most frequently posting and most active. But yes, good luck to our young drivers doing round 3 of that Young Drivers Championship next weekend at Whilton Mill. And remember those dates that I said of the championship. We're next out at Ella Park on the 31st of July, 1st of August weekend, and next streaming on the 12th of September. And just as I'm saying that, it is confirmed that Richard Lavender and Alexander Labin are your promotees. Thank you for that, John. And thank you, John, for joining me. Let's do that thank you as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Moto Meerkat. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here today in comms.
That's cool, mate. It's been great to be here. My first proper comms job, and it's been great fun. Thank you for leading me through it, Howard. You've been a great teacher and mentor for me, so thank you, sir.
I don't know if Andrew Mather's going to have his head in his hands back at base to hear that. Oh, God, what habits have you taught him? But anyway, been a pleasure, mate. And do check yourself out, Moto Meerkat, on YouTube. Check him out. I have to say, you were talking about your interviews with people like Terry Porcher and Matt Neal as well. I've been watching so many good interviews on your channel, man, so keep that going and check them out there, folks. And if I could just do a little push as well for the Double Dash Motorsport Media channel, check us out. We've got the Legends of Club 100 at iRacing Championship coming up on Wednesday evening. I'm embarrassing myself right now, I've forgotten exactly which track we're at. but we'll be posting about that as it comes up closer. And to be honest, wherever we are, it's always a barrel of laughs and good fun to come and watch us there. Great to see the paddock come together for that. I'd also like to say thank you to Alpha Live. I know we've had some technical problems this morning, folks. We're sorry about that. They will be uploading all of the races that were missed from the lightweights earlier on, later on in the week. So do check that out. Subscribe if you haven't already. So thank you to our camera crew today, to Will, to James, to Pearson, to Jack, who are stationed around this circuit bringing you all these fantastic pictures on the cameras. Thank you to Luke Austin as well, who's been next door, producer, director, everything. Stressed man generally with all things Alpha Live, but he's done another cracking job to keep the show on the road there.
Great.
And we do hope you've been enjoying all of the coverage.
And also, one final shout out to the England 11, because it's coming home, lads. Come on.
There is that. I agree.
As we stare at a lovely English flag. My apologies.
Indeed.
They're Welsh and Scottish, will be like, that's not a British.
There are plenty of British flags around this track, though, I should say. I know, actually, I'm going to be cheeky and do another thank you. Thank you to Rye House as well for hosting, we should say that as well. It's been a very entertaining
We've enjoyed
weekend.
Staring at your Stegosaurus.
We've stared at that Stegosaurus a lot. He looks very stunned about something. So probably the fact that he's still alive several million years after he should be. But yeah, no, it's been a pleasure to come back to Rye House. I just get I don't want to get too sort of heartfelt over it, but it is really good to be back underway with these Club 100 rounds. Absolutely love doing them.
It's been brilliant, and here we are, the moment we've all been waiting for.
Mr. Mather of Double Dash has just checked it as well. It's coming home, hello from the A5. Mr. Mather, if you don't know, has been at Whilton Mill today for WMKC, which is another thing that's been covered by Alpha Life. So when you get a chance in the week, go check that out as well. But that's, I think, all of the thank yous out of the way. Let's crown ourselves. We're going round again. Let's not crown ourselves a winner. Matt Warman, though, you can see, is in position, as is Joe Holmes. Joe Holmes, championship leader, coming into today. Matt Warman has had best results so far. Matt Warman's 5th in the championship. His best result so far has been a 2nd, which he got at round 1 back in clay. So can he take his first round victory of the year here at Rye House?
It's great even watching these guys on the warm-up lap. Even just watching them warm their tyres is impressive, having that much control to get it practically sideways, but still actually keep hold of it. I would have definitely spun by now.
Jan Echterman as well, saying thanks for the awesome coverage. It's been our pleasure. Thank you so much as well for all those people who have interacted with us, or if you've just been watching, we really do appreciate your support. We hope you'll support us for just 12 more minutes and then perhaps turn your attention to other things out there, because we've got to crown ourselves a winner for round 5 of the 2021 Club 100 Heavyweight Sprint Championship. Let's have eyes on the lights and engine notes rising. Indeed we do. Matt Warman leads them away towards Stadium Corner for the first time this race. Lewis Ridd on the inside is going to try and muscle his way past Joe Holmes, but Holmes is not having any of it, as Anwar Brule-Smith now is going to try and work with Holmes to go down the inside of Hairpin 1, but there's drama in the background. Drivers skewing wide. Anthony Ridd is on the grass, but somehow keeps it together, and that was a very dramatic start there, but they've somehow all managed to stay facing the same way. As John, you were understandably getting a little bit excited there.
Oh my goodness. I thought he was going straight towards the barrier there, the marshal post. That would have been a big hit. But he managed to keep it together somehow and is back involved in this race.
I think there's a budding career in rallycross for Anthony Ridd there, should it not work out for him in go-karting. At the end of lap 1, though, it is Matt Warman who leads. Joe Holmes in 2nd, and Lewis Ridd and Anwar Brule-Smith. No change amongst the top 4. It's actually not a very dramatic lap, apparently, but that tells a different story. As now Anthony Ridd is trying to slot his way down the inside of Sean Briley there in the latter part of Stadium. We'll see if he manages to make that stick. A big move on the first lap, though. Chris Dixon up 9 positions on timing here. Really someone on the move there. So look out for him. Green helmet just came onto the back of this shot there. But it is Warman, Holmes, Ridd and Brule-Smith, the top 4, with Jonathan Elliott, the highest placed Class 2 runners, in 5th there with his orange and white detailed helmet as they come round to finish lap 2.
Shout out to Chris Alcock as well, getting 6 on that lap 2. Both him and Chris Dixon, the 2 Chris's, doing unbelievably well off that start. Both moving up huge positions and looking to move forward nearer the front of the field with the rest of their yellow-plated gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely. Anwar Brule-Smith trying to tuck under Lewis Ridd there into hairpin 1, but it's not on, and Ridd's able to rid that threat. Sorry, that's a terrible pun. It's a long day. Jordan Salter as well, battling with Miguel Hall further back from this. That's your lead battle, though. Joe Holmes current championship leader, chasing down Matt Wallman, but he's surely going to try and work with Matt at least for a little bit just to bridge a gap to those behind him. Should say that his immediate threat in the championship, i.e. the driver second in the championship today, Adam Wright, is still quite a way down this field. He's got a long way to work up if he's going to keep that pressure on in the championship. There's a possibility indeed of Anwar Barul Smith potentially jumping up into second place, as there's a cone penalty for Lewis Ridd. So for the man in third place, we can say with certainty he will not take the win for the round today, because even if he wins on the road, he will have one place deducted come the end of the day. No change in penalties just because it's the A final.
Yeah, frustrating for Ridd there. Not sure, of course, where he did that, but yeah, he's going to be angry with himself when he comes back across the line, as there's a tap for the lead. The number one, Holmes, realised, put his hands up there saying, sorry mate, that was my fault, and Wildman goes back through, but of course that loses them both time, and that's allowed for the 97 of Ridd and the following pack to get right back on the rear end of number one, of Mr. Holmes. So they go through into turn one.
I do want to say, Greg Smith just with a comment here, Alcock in heavyweights, question mark. Yes, and I think that is a change for this round, and apologies if I hadn't mentioned that already, but yes, Chris Alcock is competing in heavyweights this time around, and is there in 7th place, chasing down Miguel Hall. Plenty of battles going on throughout the field. In fact, I can just see out the window Steve Lindley versus Sean Briley going on down at the hairpins. We're going to keep our eye on the leaders for now as they work their way through the latter part of this lap, but rest assured there's plenty of place negotiations going on throughout the field. There is Matt Wallman, Joe Holmes, the 97 of Lewis Ridd with a one-place penalty hanging over him, the number 2 of Anwar Barul Smith in 4th, Jonathan Elliott still your 5th place and highest place in Class 2. Miguel Hall is at the back of this pack. You can just see him there sweeping in. And here for the lead, Joe Holmes is going to try and find a very small gap here. Wildman's going to go the other side of the tyres in avoidance. Lewis Ridd is on the outside, 3 wide for the lead of the race into hairpin 2. Anwar Barul Smith sniffs the opportunity and reads it brilliantly, side by side. This is like NASCAR down the back straight here at Rye House. And Matt Wallman's somehow going to hold on to it. I'd have thought that race control will be okay with his avoidance activity the other side of the tyres, but we'll see. We'll see how that gets to. Now, this is a very unusual penalty I'm seeing here, I have to say. I'm seeing a very unusual one in the form of Bradley Parrott getting a penalty for pinching the fuel pipe, which is strictly forbidden under the rules. You cannot modify the fuel flow in that way. Meanwhile, Joe Holmes and Anwar Barul Smith, 2 rivals there going side by side. It's now Joe Holmes who chooses to go the other side of the tyres in avoidance, and he's now letting Anwar back through. He does not want the penalty here. Joe Holmes still wants to be on for this win because he can sense he does not want to let Matt Wallman get away from him here. But he's now got Jonathan Elliott behind him for company. Lewis Ridd now fallen down to 5th place, and Miguel Hall and now Chris Alcock in that 160 is on the back of this train. So the top 7 are nose to tail here as they run their way through stadium.
When they were going through 2 by 2 by 2 into a pile on the other lap, I was heart and mouth stuff. I thought some of them were at least going to go into the barrier, but shows their experience in these karts and with each other, especially to give each other room and be able to work their way through these corners without having any kind of contact with each other or barriers. And what's happened out on the track.
Drama for Jordan Salter, I can see coming out of hairpin 1. He lost 4 positions on that last lap, and I think he's had another drama down at hairpin 1. Don't know where blame may lie with that one, but I'm afraid Salter may drop down the order a little bit on this lap, looking at how that one went. I don't want to be... I take it there is no rainfall for the next 6 minutes, because it's feeling very humid, a bit like before the thunderstorm breaks it, but let's pretend I didn't say that, shall we? Because none of these drivers have rain suits on. Anyway, Anwar Barul Smith, it does mean it's quite physical work out there, though, as these 7 drivers work their way nose to tail through hairpin 1 once again. Difficult conditions here for these drivers. You don't want to... they'll be trying to work to break away, basically, and they're just not so far. So that means that it's like, okay, well, when do I fight? When do I go for it? And it's that thing of, if you're Joe Holmes, you want the bow to break slightly earlier, so you've got chance to go for first as well as for second. And if you're Anwar Barul Smith, you want no attack from behind, but you want to, in the last lap, have an amazing load of Matt. You know, everyone's got their own little agenda here, and it starts to all bubble away and comes to to its loudest, if you like, crescendos towards the end. As Joe Holmes now going to try down the inside of Anwar Barul-Smith. Good move. That is the textbook move under the brakes. Barul-Smith is going to fight back, though. Two of the most experienced and successful drivers in heavyweight Club 100 karting. They're going to be side by side again, but the other way around on that straight. Barul-Smith very keen to not get that penalty as well. This is how you do it, folks. You've got to race firmly but fairly and cleanly, and that's what these two experienced drivers are showing us right here. Further down the order, Sean Briley's got past George Hatto. That's in the battle over 15th place, so Briley making his way up the order as well. Change of position for second confirmed on your left-hand timing tower.
There was a lovely few sections of corners for Holmes, and you can tell, as I was saying before, just the experience of working together really shows through with Anwar Barul-Smith. Just being like, no, mate, you go ahead, let's work together, let's push forward. We can't be losing Wildman out in the lead. Wildman's got about 6 or 7 tenths now, where you can see Holmes and Barul-Smith wanting to hunt him down as there's more battling going on just slightly behind them.
Max O'Shaughnessy says, has the lights final happened yet? We're not racing anymore after today, so yes, it has. Check it out. Alpha Live channel coming to you later in the week if you didn't get a chance to see it. It was a brilliant A-final. Cone penalty for Joe Holmes. That's massive. That is massive for Holmes there, and that means that he cannot win this round. He cannot take the round victory, and that means that, well, he's got 3 round wins, excuse me, to his name. This is not going to be another one of them, but he's going to hope to at least have the podium. He's still going to fight for the win on the road, because that'll be second place overall, but that's big news, and that's a lifeline to Matt Wildman, even if he's not aware of it, although he may have seen the thing saying number 1, and whilst you don't tend to memorise every driver's number, the number 1 is well known in the paddock to be Joe Holmes in the series.
I don't think it quite showed up on the board that time around, but I think it will this time, so maybe he'll see it.
Yeah. So Matt Wildman has been thrown a lifeline because he's got a sort of rear gunner in a weird sort of way, but a rear gunner who wants to pass him. Okay, fine, it's all the same. Cone penalty for Adam Wright as well in his move up the field. So second place, Matt. So first and second in the championship both have cone penalties, interestingly enough. I wonder if they're just somewhere else. I wonder if the tyres have been moved a bit more onto the apex of pylons. Sometimes they do that as the weekend goes on.
They look almost on the circuit.
Yeah, so hitting the tyres does count as a cone penalty. So maybe it's that and less about that S's section, although I can't actually see the last cone on the S's section from where I am stood, because there's a bush in the way, or even a shrub. But that is, for me, that's the prime location for cone penalties. That's the most pointless debate of the weekend, whether it's a bush or a shrub.
Wildman with a cone penalty.
Oh, wow, that's huge. That's big, and that now means that this is...
Well, surely he would take it, would he not? How does the penalty system work with dropping drivers back?
So that will be... That's going to be... Yeah, I think that's... I'm going to have to double check that.
To double check.
Yeah, it is from the back that they get applied, isn't it? Right. So Holmes is going to get the drop, but then Wildman would get the drop down to second. So, yeah, Holmes would go down to third, and then Wildman would go down to second, which means that Anwar Barul-Smith would win.
That's why I would take that.
That's how I would take that, which is fair, because Barul-Smith is the only unpenalised driver amongst the top. Exactly. So, absolutely. So, yes, Anwar Barul-Smith currently leads as there's a cone penalty for Simon Capp. This is a general request to all drivers. Please stop hitting the cones. It's making my brain hurt. As there's less than 90 seconds to go of this one. As we understand it, Anwar Barul-Smith is on for the win here. Jonathan Elliott in fourth, looking good for that Class 2 win as well, and possibly can hold his head high as having an overall podium as well. Joe Holmes, fastest lap of the race at 42.9. He wants to at least win this one on the road and negate his penalty as much as he can by taking the win on the road. That's Miguel Hall, by the way, defending against Chris Alcock. I wonder if Chris has been enjoying this heavyweight experience today in his pursuit of 6th place. Chris Dixon as well, shout out to him, has been progressing up and up the order in this one to get himself up into 8th place at the moment, having started... Where did he start on the grid? He started 18th, so he's up massively in this A-final. Fair play to him there. He has risen up the ranks in the most competitive race of the day in heavyweights. We're on the last lap of the weekend as well, and there is still this question, although neither of them can win it outright. On the road, John, there's a battle here for the lead as Jonathan Elliott's going side by side with Lewis Ridd.
Fantastic little move there. I'm not sure who came out of there in front, but we're looking back at the leaders now. Number 1 of Holmes has really closed up on the rear end of Wildman, but as we say, doesn't really matter too much. They both got penalties. It's who's going to take that P2 spot, really, is this battle with, there we are, Anwar Barul Smith just behind, who we believe is going to take the win as they come through the final corner.
Absolutely. It's going to be Matt Wildman across the line first, but there are penalties to be applied. So Anwar Barul Smith, we believe, is your winner for round number 5 in the heavyweights here at Rye House. Jonathan Elliott is most certainly your winner in Class 2. Lewis Ridd in 5th, Miguel Hall in 6th, Chris Alcock in 7th, Chris Dixon with a good drive to 8th, Alex Pritchard is on your Class 2 podium in 9th. Adam Wright rounds out the top 10, although I think he has a penalty as well. Richard Allen rounds out your podium in Class 2. We say congratulations to our super heavyweight podium as well. Bradley Parrott, oh no, because Bradley Parrott had the pinching the fuel line penalty, so I'm pretty certain it's not going to be him. We think Bill Taylor is going to take the win in super heavyweights. Results.alphatiming.co.uk and click on Club 100 for all of the confirmed results. We have done all our thank yous because obviously there is a will of everybody here at the circuit to get away with some expedience, with some promptness. Yep. So just a massive thank you to everyone involved. John, do you want to do the cheesy closeout line, or shall I? Who do you want to do it?
Go on, I'll do it. Thank you, everyone, for everything on the stream today. It's been so much fun. I've had a great time doing my kind of first comms job with Club 100. It's been brilliant. And to finish it off, it's coming home, and we're going home. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching today's stream.